even trying. Capital One shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
For a roof you can trust, call Richards Construction. 828-645-7575. Family owned for over 30 years. They're licensed and insured. Free estimates, commercial or residential. Richards Construction. 645-7575.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-391-2258. That's 800-391-2258. 800-391-2258.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Christine Lisi. This is what you need to know. A pair of key contributors for the Bulls sidelined for a must-winning Game 5 against the Bucks tonight in that first-round NBA playoff series. Alex Caruso sidelined by concussion protocol. Zach LaVine in the health and safety protocols for the third time. We'll see tonight why Chicago will miss LaVine if they move on from him this offseason, explains our Jay Williams.
This is a guy who is 25, 5, and 5 as it averages. Okay, he's a two-time NBA All-Star. He was actually on track to become an All-NBA player this season before he tweaked his knee in January.
Jay of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. LaVine will be an unrestricted free agent after this season. Game 5 coverage starts at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. NFL, the Jaguars and left tackle Cam Robinson agreed on a 3-year, $54 million extension, likely meaning offensive tackle off the board for Jacksonville with the number 1 overall pick in tomorrow night's NFL draft. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern here on ESPN Radio, 8 Eastern on ESPN TV and other ESPN platforms.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Money. That's money. Enter it on our station website now.
Log on to ESPNABL.com.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings.
And welcome, everyone, to the second happiest day in the history of time. It is Draftmas Eve.
Draftmas Eve.
The 2022 NFL Draft begins tomorrow night, and we have all of your Draftmas coverage here in the Sportsocracy on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. You can hear the Sportsocracy, of course, coming to you live from the Ingles Studio everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. We will have all of the run-up for Draftmas Eve right here over the next 2 hours. Tomorrow, the special show as we do the final mock draft, at least of the first round of the NFL Draft.
I hold in my hands. It's the final 262. Why you do? There's a forfeited pick. There's 262 picks. Stop putting that in there. It just makes it so much more difficult.
Exactly. There's 263 on the board, except for that one That one
forfeited New Orleans Saints pick that almost gave me an aneurysm at about 11 o'clock this morning.
The Sportsocracy always brought to you by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings, and we are fully interactive today because it is Draftmas, and we want to make sure that all your questions get answered. So the way to get your questions in is to go to the YouTube stream. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can get your questions answered on this here program. We are going to talk about each and every position group of the NFL draft. Jeremy is going to lay out his busts, his booms, his sleepers, and, of course, the better than you think at each position of the draft. All of the news, as I said, coming your way, along with all of your favorites. Jeremy's picks of the night in the Greene on Greene coming up at the end of this hour.
Last night, not a banner evening.
Oh,
but it's okay. We're still right there, right where we want to be, going into the rounds of the playoffs that I can actually stand to sit through and watch.
We will have the 5 on it in the 4 o'clock hour, and of course, again, all of your draft coverage. So, Jeremy, where to start? The biggest story on Draftmas Eve is what?
The biggest story is this fun disinformation narrative that the Jets are offering 5,000 picks for Deebo Samuel. I mean, that's the trending story right now.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you definitively, it ain't true. It's not true. It hasn't been true, and it's not going to be true.
No.
But it could have a very direct effect on what happens. I fully believe if Deebo Samuel is going to be traded, it'll be in the next 24 hours.
Okay.
And I think the only team that's really hot after him right now is the Jets.
But it's not for 5 picks.
It's not for 10. That's insane. It doesn't make it. I'll put it this way. I'm not even going to dignify the person because he runs one of those clickbait, 5 players you need to know about the NFL draft websites. And then it's like 2 kickers and a long snapper websites. Put out that the Jets have offered 10. Let's see, I think it was $10.99, a second rounder next year, and something else for Deebo Samuel with Elijah Moore. And the only holdup is the Jets don't know if they want to give up Elijah Moore. Please stop talking. Stop talking. Just whoever gave you a microphone, they should take it away and put you on conversation probation for an extended period of time.
Well, again, as we said on Monday, this is lying week. So everyone and their brother are throwing smoke screens and false information around. You just have to sift through all of the BS. And thankfully, that's why we have at ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene here to help us realize what is real and what is not real.
Because there's no smoke from me, just brutal, unabashed honesty. By the end of this weekend, I'm going to sound like Doc Rivers, and I may actually die at some point in day 3.
Yeah.
I was looking at the cemetery of energy drinks that are underneath my desk. That's where my trash can is.
Uh-huh.
And I went, well, that's not good for the duration of the life expectancy.
The clinking and clanking of cans coming from the other side of the studio here doesn't alarm me at all because I actually had to dip into the energy drink bank today as well, and it's only going to get worse as we continue to give you all of the draft coverage. And tomorrow night, live on the YouTube stream, we'll cover every pick. Same thing on Friday, and the same thing all day on Saturday, when it all kicks off at noon on Saturday, and we will wrap up the coverage with Mr. Irrelevant at number 262/3 overall. We already have the question asked in the comment section on YouTube: who is Mr. Irrelevant this year? If you had to wager on it.
If I had to wager on it, I have a gambling problem. Derek Deese Jr. is Mr. Irrelevant for me.
Okay.
I think. Yep.
The tight end out of San Jose State.
There is one pick I will give you early. Derek Deese Jr. That's number 262 to the San Francisco 49ers.
If you have not already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that because coming up starting tonight or into tomorrow, whenever we can get them all cut, we will have the official team by team. Here's what your mock draft looks like.
They'll all be out tomorrow. They'll start, I think, at 8 o'clock in the morning. They'll be coming out every 15 minutes.
Yep.
And it will be the picks of your team, the link to the live video, any last-minute rumors I'm hearing. Zeke Zero, one of our wonderful Titans fans, did comment that there was no Titans perfect mock draft. That's because it was possessed by the devil. It was done, but it kept crashing my computer, and I have absolutely no idea why.
Sometimes files get corrupted, and we apologize for missing that one.
But there will be a Titans final mock draft, the players that you're getting, and it's a nice haul.
Yes, indeed.
I looked back on every team. I would not be upset if I was the fan of any team with what I've got for you. So those will be coming out tomorrow. Obviously, the first round mock draft. We will go on at 7:30. Draft starts at 8, so we'll do 30 minutes of rapid fire questions. Just that's like the jumpers. Getting up jumpers before the game starts.
Yeah, it's the warm up.
Yeah, you got the full rack of balls, and I'm gonna get as many reps up as I can.
Yeah, as a big guy, that's one thing that I've always been a fan of. Full racks are always better. What?
There's a reason I tell the jokes on this show.
Oh, stop that. Where was you? Your mind went to the gutter on that one, didn't you? I was talking about ribs. I don't know what you were talking about.
Sure you were.
Uh-huh.
Sure you were. You can lie to yourself. You can lie to me. Neither one does you any good.
Let's see here. Other rumors that are flying around right now: the New York Giants say that they have fielded a lot of calls for number 7 overall. And is that a smokescreen? Are they trying to bait someone to come up? Because we talked about the picks that are most likely to be traded in the first 10 picks are Seattle at 9 and Atlanta at 8. So are the Giants trying to see if they can get somebody to?
I almost promise you that the Falcons are not trading at 8. I have completely come off that.
Okay.
Seattle still very likely. Look, there's not a team in the top 10 that wouldn't come off their pick if you would pay them 100% of what it's worth. The problem is nobody's going to do that. So I think you'll see. The closer we've gotten to this, the more I think it's going to be a really static first round. Everybody stays practically where they are. There will be a couple trades. The line in Vegas has gone down by one full trade in the last 24 hours.
Okay.
Which that makes a lot of sense to what I've heard through my channels. I do think somebody's going to trade up for a receiver.
The Houston Texans also, Nick Caserio putting out there today that they're actively shopping the 13th overall pick that they received from Cleveland.
That is one that I could actually see moving.
I don't see, but you don't believe that the Giants are because to me, if you got two picks in the top 10, it just sets up so perfectly for you. Why would you be willing to come off of that?
Oh, there's no doubt why you would be willing to do it. You almost invariably win by trading down. That's one of the dirty little secrets of the draft is everybody gets excited when you trade up. You really win when you trade down.
Well, most of the time when we see trades happen within the first 10, 15 picks of the draft, it's usually for quarterbacks. So I feel like we should start there because quarterback this year has been talked about ad nauseum. However, who's actually going to go? So let's start your position breakdowns here with the most important position in football at quarterback. Who is the boom quarterback of this weak draft class?
I mean, to me, it's Sam Howell, but I think that's because he's going to go last among the quarterbacks. In my mock, I have 3 quarterbacks going in the first round. The first one is Malik Willis at 20. I have not come off of that, and there's not going to be anything that's going to change my mind. You can say anything you want to. I don't care. I don't care if Kenny Pickett walked in this door right now and said, Scott Fitterer just sent me a plane ticket to be in Charlotte at 9 a.m. Friday morning. I don't believe you. It just this entire class has been run through the mud through the whole process. And I don't buy that anybody's that in love. I mean, look at the Atlanta Falcons. They said, we would love to come away from this weekend with a quarterback. Next question. Early? Period.
We'll see.
Let's go period. We'll come away with a quarterback, period. The bust to me is Malik Willis. Everybody gets intoxicated on the tools. I get it. If this was, I just saw Spider-Man, so I'm going to use the multiverse. If we were in the multiverse and there were 10 different timelines of what happened with Malik Willis, he would be an absolute unmitigated disaster, 5 of them. He would be good and electric and sell a lot of jerseys and never win squat twice. He'd be fantastic once, and then he would be a back 10 of the league starter the other two.
So Cam Newton in his early years, in his prime?
Cam Newton's 3 times the player of what Malik Willis projects to be.
Oh, okay.
People are just getting too intoxicated by how fast he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the arm's good, and he's very elusive. The problem is every time I've ever seen him get out of the pocket and do one of those, wow, can you believe he did that? The ball lands about 15 yards out of bounds. It's like, you do realize that goes down the same way as if he just thrown it in the dirt. Now, if he goes to the Steelers, which I believe will happen, I like his future outlook drastically better. The other quarterbacks, I don't see the good. I don't see the upside in Kenny Pickett. I have said the entire time I think he is a grossly overhyped with his little tiny hands version of Colt McCoy. That's who he is. Desmond Ridder, I feel the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The late riser in the process is Bailey Zapp. I refuse to call him Zappy. He could walk in here and tell me, show me the phonetic spelling on his birth certificate, and I would still go, Zapp. You want to be Zappy? You put an I on the end of it.
He did put an E on the end of it.
That's Zapp. His name is Bailey Zapp.
He
will go ahead of Carson Strong.
Okay.
And poor Carson Strong. Somebody asked me yesterday, name a player that should have stayed in school. Carson Strong. But he couldn't have. Don't care. You should have asked them to be a coach for a year.
Right. Maybe you should have gone to the USFL.
And he very well might. It's just the medical on him it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
2 catastrophic knee injuries. Some teams have him off the board. It's a bad quarterback class.
So Bailey Zappi is the better than you think he's going to be.
I think so. He's going to go higher than you think.
Okay.
I think he will go closer to the 4 that we talk about than anybody else will be to them. And then you get into the late guys. I mean, Cole Kelly, I know there's some teams that like him, but when I say like him, it's late 7th round pick, developmental. He's a giant. I mean, he's 6'7" and some change. But there's just nobody here. This is the first class I've ever evaluated that I don't see a star in.
So
I think Sam Howell can be a good starter in the NFL.
Sleeper for the quarterback position.
I don't know that I have one. So you're asking me a guy that's going to go later that would be define. All right, you're going to have to define sleeper.
Okay, so sleeper.
There's not a late, hey, he's going to be a starter.
Spot starter. How about somebody that could be a solid backup at some point? I'm thinking in the realm of what we've seen Case Keenum or Colt McCoy or guys like that be.
I'll give you 2, and I kind of look at them the same way. Brock Purdy from Iowa State and E.J. Perry from Brown. I like both of them. I don't want to go into a game with you as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
But if the starter gets hurt and you're my backup down the line, I'll be fine. Both smart kids, both really competitive kids.
Yep.
But I'm being as honest as I can be here. There's not a quarterback in this class that would have been a first-round pick in any of the last 3 drafts. And Malik Willis is included in that.
Pan Gargamel on our YouTube stream has commented that he doesn't understand why every mock draft is giving the Steelers, with the 20th pick, a quarterback. He says, I know Mitch is not an ultimate answer, but would you not agree that next year's quarterback class is better?
It is, but here's the problem. I don't see. Is there any chance the Pittsburgh Steelers pick in the top 15 of any draft?
No.
No, there's not. So, yeah, there are guys that could pan out. The further this process has gone on, the more I've laughed at how great next year's quarterback class is. No, there's just a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be this bad, and somebody's going to distance themselves and make themselves the clear starter. Now, the reason that Pittsburgh has had quarterbacks attached to them, they've brought in every quarterback in this draft at some point to talk to.
Yep.
That tells you they're going to come away with one.
Yep.
Then you get into who could it be? What would actually fit? And then you look at, they haven't really talked to other people that would fit at 20. And you kind of start shoehorning it in there. His next comment was they should take Tyler Linderbaum. I don't disagree with you in the least. I have Tyler Linderbaum as the 7th best player in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
I also have him going with one of the last 5 picks of the first round because he's a center. And he's got short arms, and some teams don't like that. But it's really just more – you have 4 quarterbacks here that most people have in their top 50 players. You don't have 4 teams that actually need a starting quarterback. I mean, they do, but we'll just be bad next year and wait.
Right. This is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville here and heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get your questions answered in the run-up to the NFL Draft.
Speaking of that, before we go to commercial, there is one question in the comments that I want to tackle before we get off quarterbacks.
Okay.
JT Money asked, who is this year's Davis Mills? I'm going to be as honest with you as I can be. If Davis Mills was in this draft, he'd have been the number 1 pick. He'd have been the highest graded quarterback, and it wouldn't be close. And that's with the evaluation from last year, where if you remember, as we went through the process, I said I liked Davis Mills better than a lot of people did, and so did a lot of teams in the league.
Yep.
He had a higher grade than any quarterback in this class.
Wow.
And that's as a kid that went in the 3rd round last year. That should give you a little point of reference where this quarterback class actually is.
More of the boom-bust position breakdowns for the 2022 NFL Draft coming up next right here in the Sportsocracy.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front swept through last night, and you can feel that lower humidity. We're talking some 30s in the higher elevations tonight, around 40 in the valley. Mostly sunny Thursday, 70 degrees, just a quintessential beautiful spring day here for Thursday and Friday. Upper 60s near 70 and cool nighttime low temps in the 40s and 50s. Some thunderstorms this weekend with temperatures climbing back up through the 70s. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's Breakfast Biscuit Sandwich, just $1. Wendy's knows a better breakfast starts with a better biscuit. That's why you can get a hot and buttery Wendy's breakfast biscuit with bacon or sausage, fresh cracked egg and cheese for just $1. Get your Wendy's Buck Biscuit Sandwich today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. A staggering 8 million tons of plastic ends up in the world's oceans every year. If current trends continue, our oceans could contain more plastic than fish by 2050. Do your part. Purchase items made from renewable or recycled content and recycle whenever possible. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
This April, Dork Racing's toughest gladiators come together in the last great Coliseum for a battle unlike any other. The World of Outlaws Bristol Bash.
3 cars racing for the win on the final lap.
See World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars and World of Outlaws Case Lake models collide for one massive weekend. April 28th to the 30th at Bristol Motor Speedway. Do not miss this chance to be part of history. The World of Outlaws Bristol Bash, April 28th to the 30th. Be there.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-391-2258. That's 800-391-2258. 800-391-2258.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. By storing our guns safely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
At Ingles, we know firsthand that building a dream isn't easy. That's why we help small businesses discover the right ingredients for success. We mentor them in development, design, and distribution, making sure their hard work makes it into our stores and our communities, delivering the best local products, and hopefully, a few dreams along the way. Ingles, your neighbor for over 50 years.
The Sportsocracy.
Fire them cannons. By golly, put more powder in those things.
It's ESPN Asheville, and news today on the fifth-year option front. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers officially announcing that they are picking up the fifth-year option on Devin White. And that will lead us into our next position breakdown for the 2022 NFL Draft. Let's talk about linebackers. Who's your boom, Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene, at the linebacker position?
The one I can't get away from is Devin Lloyd. Now, he seems to run a little slow at the combine, seems to have pushed him down. I now don't believe he will be the first linebacker taken. I think that's going to be Quay Walker. And I get it. I always thought I was higher on him than others were. It does appear he will be the first one off the board. I would say he's in play for Philadelphia. They don't seem to do that. And then you would go into New England, a couple other teams late in the first round. The Detroit Lions, I looked for one of their first three picks. They got three in the top 34. Mm-hmm. One of them will be a linebacker. In my mock, I have them taking Devin Lloyd at the beginning of the second round.
One of the who's your bust for linebackers?
I don't know that I have a bust per se because there's a tier. I like Nakobe Dean. I like Devin Lloyd. I like Quay Walker. Once you get past that, there's just this amorphous blob of, yeah, they do different things, but I have very similar grades. If I had to say there's one that I probably like less than most people, I'll go Christian Harris.
Okay. Linebacker out of Alabama.
Yeah, because I got intoxicated by watching him run at the combine, and then I went back and watched the tape and went, okay, you're one of those players that I watched you run tremendously. You don't play that way. And the more I've sunk that in, I think he's a rotational piece. But I could see him going too high.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I'm drunk, there's two small school linebackers that I am just 2:07 in the morning. I've had too many, and they won't serve me any more drunk on.
Troy Anderson. I can't think of the other
Chad
one.
Moma.
Chad Moma.
Just Gary Busey. Closing time drunk on both of them.
Linebacker just seems to me to be one of those positions in this draft that's very, very deep because there's a lot that we've talked about. Leo Chenal is JoJo Doman. These are all
JoJo Doman. It's saying JoJo Doman's is a linebacker's like saying I'm a journalist. You have to put little bunny ears around that.
Listed as a linebacker.
Yeah, he's a really poor man's version of a Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Mm-hmm.
He's better defending the slot than almost any corner in this draft, and he'll be a sub-package kind of guy. I mean, I'm just looking at my board. There are over 30 linebackers in this draft that I have draftable grades on,
right?
Which is really deep for any position.
It is. So if your team is in need of a linebacker, maybe you can pick up a diamond in the rough. Who's your better than you think they're going to be?
Brandon Smith. It's not even close.
Linebacker out of Penn State.
There's one person, and it's the guys that run NFL Draft Buzz, that are even in the neighborhood of how high I am on him. He's the best pass coverage linebacker in this draft. And you look at the way the league works now. Is he great against the run? No. He would be a situational player, but he's phenomenal at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're one of those teams in the AFC West, you know, that division that has a slew of gigantic fast tight ends, might want to consider it. You know, just you do what you want to do. I would highly encourage that one of you look at a linebacker like that.
And who's the sleeper linebacker? You got to go deep in the draft to find a guy that we're going to be looking back in 2 or 3 years and go, can you believe that X team got this guy in the 6th round?
Darian Butler from Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
He ran slower at the combine than we expected, and teams have basically just he was like a balloon that teams just stuck a pin in and went, well, he's dead now. He will go in the 6th or 7th round. I cannot stop putting him with the New England Patriots. And years down the line, you'll look at that and go, man, how did we miss that?
Yep.
And I'm not going to say I'm as convinced about this as I am the player I'm getting ready to say. He's up there. The guy that played at the same school, Vontaze Burfict. Vontaze Burfict is one of those. He was one of the guys that made me go, maybe I could do this for a living.
Right.
Because I watched him fall down draft boards, and there were personality things and work ethic, and I get all that. I don't care. Short of crimes, there is nothing he could do that should put him here. I don't care that he ran a 5 flat 40, which he did.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Stop getting so worked up about that. Darian Butler is the one I would say there. And there are a couple others that we'll talk about a lot on day 3 of the draft, converted safeties that are going to play linebacker, looking at Tariq Carpenter from Georgia Tech, Joey Blunt from Virginia. Just a lot of guys that are going to play that weird, jokery Isaiah Simmons role, and you can rest it. That's probably be part of the drinking game. You have to take a sip of your drink every time I say joker.
Joker. All right, let's get just a bit outside.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
And normally when a guy wins an award, it's a major award, since we're talking about Draftmas and, Christmas trees and stuff like that.
Oh, Draftmas tree, old Draftmas tree.
But when you win an award in a professional sport, you don't normally see the guy who won the award turn around and immediately give it to somebody else. But that's exactly what we had in the NBA. As the most improved player award in the NBA this year goes to Ja Morant, who should have been the first-round draft pick a couple of years ago, or the number 1 overall draft pick in the NBA a few years back over Zion Williamson. I'm going to continue to stand on that. I mean, did you see that last night? That dude's a killer. Ja Morant with that dunk. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was unbelievable. He's an unbelievable
Zion was still
player.
the right call.
Yeah. No. He got the most improved player award on Monday night, and then he immediately turned around and delivered it to one of his teammates, Desmond Bane, who, I mean, there is a great case to be made that Desmond Bane maybe should have won the most improved player award this year. And he had it delivered to Desmond Bane, and they filmed him coming in and opening the box and goes, what is this? What does he sent me? He opens it. He goes, no, man, you got to give this back to 12. You got to give this back to Ja Morant because this is his award. But I thought that was just one of the coolest things of Ja Morant showing one of his teammates that even though I got this accolade, I think you were worthy of getting it.
And not to be confused with the award Ben Simmons got, which was least improved.
Least improved.
He was and that trophy is cool. It's just a picture of a potty with the seat up. That's what he got.
Oh, I wish we could fashion that and give it to him.
100%. I'll do it and send it to him. I don't care. It helps if I, turn the button on.
Yep.
Let me tell you something. I love weed, okay? I love it.
Laramie Tunsil.
Oh,
it's
draft time.
Draftmas. It's Draftmas Eve, which means my weird story needs to be a Draftmas-related story. Many of us that are draft nerds remember the Laramie Tunsil gas mask
we'll never forget
fiasco. I'll never forget it either. That if I live to be 900 years old, that will be one of the indelible, hey, you remember when that happened moments? Well, now he's turned it into an NFT. It's a one-of-one NFT, and I need somebody to explain to me what that means.
It means there's only going to be one made, obviously.
Well, there's only one problem. It could be made 1 million times on YouTube or Photoshop or any of those things.
See, I don't know how that certification process works.
I don't either, but he's making an NFT out of his famous gas mask draft night fall, and he is going to use the proceeds to benefit the Last Prisoner Project, which supports those incarcerated for cannabis offenses. Which
Good for him.
I don't do drugs, though. just weed.
Just weed.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. And basically what he was saying is that I'm putting this behind me. I've been in the league for several years now.
Right.
I'm tired of talking about this. I'm going to make it an NFT. I'm going to do some good and good for you.
Well, I'm sorry, Laramie. We're never going to stop talking about that.
It will always be the first thing I think of with him.
Mm-hmm. Because he was projected to go like third overall?
Yeah, he was the number one offensive tackle in the class.
Yeah. And then ended up falling to the Miami Dolphins at like 17, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember watching that, and I worked for a website at the time. And I was, as every pick came off the board, I'm going, did he kill somebody or is it just this? Because if it's just this, I don't care. I don't care if that was recorded this morning.
Right.
We're going to have a talk about it, but it never made any sense.
I don't care if it was live during his draft day interview of, hey, you just got drafted number 3 overall. That's great, man.
He just shows up to talk to the commissioner like, that's weird timing for you.
It was. Speaking of weird, something weird happened today. I don't know that I've ever seen this before, but on Draftmas Eve, the Buffalo Bills had a private workout this morning with Trey McBride, the tight end out of Colorado State.
Yeah, you can't really do that. You can't officially have them in the building. That day was last week. So I have not confirmed that. I don't know that to be true. He may have just been in Buffalo like, hey, I'm here doing stuff. Buffalo has been attached to tight ends. I can tell you that could not be a top 30 visit or anything like that because that's a big old no-no.
Right.
But I could see Trey McBride's one of those players I look at and go, all the first-round hype for him died, and it shouldn't have. He's clearly my number one tight end in this class.
Mm-hmm. But does that give you a window into maybe what the Buffalo Bills might be thinking?
Buffalo's weird.
26?
Buffalo likes a bunch of guys that I think they could get lower. Nick Petit-Ferrer, who they have been attached to the entire process.
Mm-hmm.
Trey McBride, the running backs. And let me say this as aggressively as I can. And we can slide into running backs here if you would like to. There's not a running back going in the first round of this draft. There's not a running back possibly going in the second round of this draft because this position is bad.
I don't believe that. I believe that about the first round. Second round, though, I will promise you, if there has not been a running back taken in the bottom of the second round, my Bucks are going to take one. We will take Breece Hall.
You think that's your second biggest need?
We will take Breece Hall if he falls.
You think that's your second biggest need?
I mean,
the answer is no, and it's not close.
Need.
Safety, guard, 3-4D end. Okay, I got to 3 and didn't even think about it. The problem with a running back in this class is just not one that's so much better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I like Breece Hall. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like him. I like Kenneth Walker. I like James Cook. Do I really like any of them that much better than anybody else? The answer is no.
Yeah.
I mean, I like those 3. There is a drop-off from those 3. When you get into the Dameon Pierce side of this, there is a drop-off.
All right, let's since I started this out with a tight end story for today, let's talk about the tight ends. Your tight end class for 2022, who's the boom? Is it Trey McBride?
I think Trey McBride's the safe answer. I'm going to go with Jelani Woods.
Ooh, all right, out of Virginia.
I'm going to go with Jelani Woods. He is a gigantic human. He ran drastically faster than you would think. He's an RAS monster. The analytics people love him. And, the thing that bothered me about him was the production at Virginia, and then I looked at the red zone production and went, oh, okay. So where your job was to be big, you be big real good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I can see a path that you're a thing. And I'm going to say the same thing I just said about tight end or about running back. I'm going to say the same thing about tight end. Yeah, I like Trey McBride better than virtually everybody else. I like Greg Dulcich a lot. And then there's about 20 of them that, okay, whatever flavor you're looking for, there's one for you.
Right.
Isaiah Likely, that I think is a really good, willing blocker, just an every down kind of tight end. I love him. I'm going to talk about that block in the Senior Bowl until I'm old and gray because it's the only great block I think I've ever seen by a tight end in the Senior Bowl.
What, this is the one where he went 60 yards downfield?
No.
Blocked the guy?
That was Linderbaum in the in the Gator Bowl.
Oh, okay.
No, Isaiah Likely went out, he flexed out wide in the slot and then came back and ran a wham block and just demolished a defensive end. And it led to a touchdown.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I went, if you go any later than the third round, every team in the NFL did it wrong.
Who's the bust? Who's the tight end with the hype that you don't think is going to be able to live up to the expectation?
It's not so much that they have hype. I'm going to go Jeremy Ruckert.
At
Everybody's
Ohio
talking
State.
about, he can do everything. Then why didn't he? He's a good blocker. He had a couple moments where he showed some hands.
Mm-hmm.
He also had two guys that are going to go in the top 15 of this draft on the outside and two that may very well go in the top 10 of the next two drafts sitting behind them. And he was still – and I understand there's only so many targets to go around, but I just never saw it.
Yeah.
I don't put him with the – like I've got Kate Otten ahead of him. I've got a good number of tight ends ahead of him, and I think he's going to go right around 100.
I know that your Jets brought him in for a workout, so, I mean, is –
Ruckert?
Yeah.
No, they talked to him. No, they talked to him at the combine.
Oh, okay.
But they, the ones they brought in for everybody brought in the same tight ends for a workout.
Okay.
It was McBride and Dulcich, Jalen Weidermeyer, and I think so many teams brought him in just to go, are you really this slow? That's the sleeper.
Yeah.
Which is weird to say because he was too clearly coming into this draft.
Who's the sleeper?
Jalen Weidermeyer.
Okay.
He ran so slow that people have just freaked out, and now it's gone way too over the top. I think he's going to be a value for somebody in the 5th, 6th round, and I look at the Indianapolis Colts, the New Orleans Saints. There are a couple other teams that have been – Buffalo Bills that have been on him throughout this entire process. I've heard the narrative he's not going to get drafted. Okay, I'll believe that when I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Till then, I'm not going to.
All right, who's the tight end that's better than we think or will be better than we think?
I will go – I want to say Charlie Kohler only because I want to give him something because I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I'm going to go James Mitchell. He's so freakishly athletic and can just do anything. And the fact he only ran a 4.68 is going to keep him from skyrocketing upwards. I mean, this is a guy that ran direct snaps for at Virginia Tech. I mean, he was coming out of the backfield as a running back.
Right.
He can just do anything.
Right.
That would be the better than you think.
Okay. All right. So the tight end class also pretty deep. Don't expect one to go in the first round. I mean, that one could.
Trey McBride could.
Right.
That wouldn't stun me.
Right.
Would nominally surprise me.
My overall favorite in the tight end class is Greg Dulcich. And I know we've talked about him some, but I just don't feel like he's getting as much credit as I think that he's due. To me, he just seems like he's going to be a monster at the next level.
Jason N. said, did he really say gigantic human? Jordan Davis is a gigantic human. Yeah, I was talking about on the scale of tight ends. If we put all the tight ends in this class in a room together, you would very quickly go, hey, Jelani Woods is bigger than all of you. Like, he also has ridiculously big hands, too.
Right. Let's go defensive tackle for our next position breakdown here. The defensive tackles, obviously, I mean, you got Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis is the one that gets all of the pub because he is such a ginormous freak of an athlete. And he wowed everybody at the combine. The pro day was probably better than the combine performance. And we've had questions about him, but who's the boom of the defensive tackle class?
I'm going to say it's Devontae Wyatt. Because the hate on him has gone to a ridiculous point on the tape. Look, there are some things with him personally. I don't know any of that. I say this on the show a lot. I'm not a cop, and I'm not a lawyer. So I don't know any of those things. But it seems like when those started cropping up, people started attacking the tape, and that doesn't make any sense to me. Mm-hmm. Because if you're going to do it with Devontae Wyatt, you should do it with Trayvon Walker too. So to me, he's the one that on the field production is the one he will surpass where he's drafted. And I think now he's going to fall in my mock draft, I've got him back in the second. Because there are a lot of teams that have dropped him off the board because of character red flags.
The bust of the defensive tackles.
I'm going to say Jordan Davis. People are freaking out about things that don't matter.
Okay.
I don't care that he ran a 4.7 40. I don't care. Can he get after a quarterback? Maybe one time in his life ever. That would be tremendous. Or is he just a great big Grady Jarrett? If he is, then he shouldn't be going at, I mean, I've heard him as high as 9. That player doesn't go that high. And I just think this is one of those times that people are freaking out about the combine and have overhyped a kid. I mean, he's got weight issues. Always makes me nervous when you had weight issues as a broke college kid.
Yep.
Because you're about to sign a deal that gives you a whole mess of monies in your hand. And as someone that has been a fat kid for much of my life, when you give me lots of monies, I buy lots of Reese's and Twix and candy bars.
That was
I could see that being a problem with him.
That was a thing that the coaches at Georgia had to watch with him of when we get into the offseason, he's not going to show up and be in peak shape.
If he goes to the wrong team, he could be out of the league in 4 years. I love him with the Chargers. I love him with the Baltimore Ravens. I like him with the Eagles. I don't mind him with the Vikings.
Can he be Vita Vea? Can he be that good?
He can be. I don't know that he will ever have that second gear that Vita found to be not a great pass rusher, but you're still such a space eater that you open up things in a 3-4 like that. I'm starting to think that he is the fail-safe for Minnesota if Sauce and Stingley go as high as I think they will.
NOLA Dynasty in the YouTube stream. You want to get your comments in, be sure to do that at thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Subscribe to the channel. That'll get you into the chat. NOLA Dynasty says Jordan Davis got after Bryce Young first drive in the biggest game of the year. Sack, fumble for a touchdown. First drive. That speaks volumes.
And I agree. The good of him is very good. What I don't understand is the same people that were giving me all of the negative watched him run at the combine, and then that just went out the window. And I've read this book with players before. Of you start completely putting your fingers in your ears about the downside to them. Now, I need to just put this on record. I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player. I'm saying I think a team could regret taking him at 15 if his role is going to be poor man's Vita Vea, Grady Jarrett, doesn't offer you much in that third down, could have weight issues, things like that. That being said, I think he's going to have a role, and he's going to be good in this league. Just I'm really, really tired of hearing how fast he ran at the combine.
Yeah. Who's the best defensive or the better than we think defensive tackle?
There are a lot of them in this class. Perry and Winfrey's who I'm going to go with. That is a name that virtually every team I've talked to throughout this entire process has mentioned at some point. And he can just do so many different things. I think he can be a 3-4 defensive end. He can play inside in a 4-3, move him around. He's a very good pass rusher, and I think he'll hold up better against the run in the NFL than he did in college. You got to remember, in the Big 12, there's a lot of stretch it out, spread zoning, and I know those concepts happen in the NFL, but it's different. It's just a slightly different ball game, and I think him being a dedicated pass rusher in the NFL, he will be, I think, even more impactful than he was in college.
How about your sleeper at defensive tackle?
This is a sleeper, and this is a guy that I like a tremendous amount.
Is it John Ridgeway?
Well, I do like John Ridgeway, but I think I've said his name so many times that I'm legally not allowed to say it anymore.
You have.
Otito Ogbanya from UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
UCLA is one of those schools that I look at and go, players go there to die because they're not coached well, and that's a weird scheme. I think a smart 3-4 team is going to draft him and turn him into an absolute stud. He kind of reminds me of Sebastian Joseph Day. He's so big that people are going to think he has to play as a true nose in a 3-4. I don't think that's true. He's just a big freak of nature of a man, and I know he didn't run particularly fast, but of course he didn't. He's 330 pounds.
While we're talking about defensive tackles, you think there's still the bottom of the first round ceiling for Travis Jones?
Well, I never said that was the ceiling. Well, I guess I did say it was the ceiling. Yes, there is that. In my mock, I have him beginning of the second. The Tennessee Titans are the team to watch on him. And I just think they're going to shoehorn a receiver because there's a couple that'll be there that I know they like. he could go at the back end of the first, and I wouldn't be upset about it. He's 25th overall for me. He's one of my last first-round grades.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I need to clarify this too, because I got asked this twice on Twitter yesterday. When I say first-round grade, the way my grades work, I have clear 1s, 1 2s, clear 2s, 2 3s. When I say first-round grade, I don't mean I would take them in the first. I mean they grade in that 1 or 1 2 range. And when my big board comes out tomorrow, you'll see it many times during the draft.
Right.
You'll see the numeric range and where guys fall in and things like that.
We have been putting the finishing touches on not only the top 300 big board for Flowstradamus, Jeremy Greene, but we've also put the final touches on the 7-round mock draft. We will have team-by-team videos coming out starting tomorrow with every team. Here's your mock draft. Here's the latest to look for. And it's almost here. 2022 NFL Draft kicks off tomorrow night. We will be covering each and every pick live on the YouTube stream. So be sure to go to the sportsocracy.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and your team will be covered. Some say ad nauseum, but let's be honest. We're all crazy for the NFL. And
I want you to think about this. The NFL's draft will get 3 times the rating that every other sports finals gets. That's all you need to know.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. We will continue the position breakdowns in the next hour, and we will start it off with the edge rushers because there are a ton of them in this draft, and that has become one of the most premium positions in the NFL. Would you say that's kind of equal to the quarterback position on the defensive side of the ball?
I would say so, yeah.
We'll talk about that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. After the break, Jeremy's going to give us his picks for the night in the NBA. We got 2 series, could possibly be series finales tonight. Jeremy will give you his picks up next.
Hey guys, I'm Ziggy, your local Philly girl, owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli. I've created a traditional northern deli with only the most authentic cheesesteaks outside of Philadelphia, served with provolone, white American, or Cheese Whiz. Our other classic deli sandwiches are made with the best quality meats and cheeses, available sliced by the pound. Join us for breakfast for house-made bagels with our custom cream cheeses. Or for something heartier, try a pork roll, egg and cheese, or house-cured lox. Ziggy's Bakery and Deli, in the corner of Asheville Commons, 1550 Hendersonville Road, open 8 to 3, Tuesday through Saturday.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
They say singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times. Number 1. Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside. 2. Virtual play dates. Social and physical distancing can help save lives. 3. Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together. Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
As the country bounces back from COVID and mask mandates are lifted, your business needs a lift too. Promote your company right here, right now. Radio ads connect with 93% of Americans every week. That's more than Google, more than Facebook, more than TV. In fact, radio reaches 20% more millennials than TV. Want more of the people you want to talk to all in one place? Visit iHeartAdvertising.com and get AM and FM working for you. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
As the COVID-19 pandemic continues its downward trend, we spoke with Dr. Jay Bott, Executive Director of the Deloitte Center for Health Solutions, to find out how he's handling tough conversations while working at Chicago health clinics.
So what I'm seeing
in the community I serve, nearly 70% of our population is vaccinated. It's largely people of color, underserved communities that I serve. And so I'm encouraged by that, but we've got more work to go close the last mile. And those are the conversations I'm having right now. And you compare that nationally with 77% vaccinated, 65% fully vaccinated. And I think the challenging piece about 29% boosted. So I'm continuing to combat misinformation with science, listen with empathy, discuss the facts, help people along in their vaccination journey, their health journey. And so there are nuances, but it starts with just helping people along and listening.
To find COVID-19 vaccines and boosters near you, check out vaccines.gov.
Okay, let's start unloading the sod over here.
The grass is always greener when Haruka's Lawn Care does the mowing.
And then we want to get the flower bed started before lunch.
They need a new landscaping designer to keep their budding business growing.
Ooh, can we double check the incline here? This one needs to drain this way.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's.
Today's topic, friends and family savings.
Just in time for Mother's Day.
Speaking of, I got my mom the cutest pajamas for just $27.99. A trendy spring dress for under $25 and 65% off fine jewelry.
Ooh, she's one lucky lady.
So am I. Did I mention I got an extra 25% off? And because I'm a Kohl's Rewards member, an extra $20 off?
Count on Kohl's for more style and more savings.
Select styles, 20 off 100 valid in-store only. 25% off ends May 1st. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Coffee still closes, homie.
Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power.
That watch costs more than your car.
Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
1-3 last night takes me back down underneath the 500 mark. We'll try to get back over that tonight. Only 2 games in the NBA, so we'll pick them both. First, the Chicago Bulls are a 12-point dog tonight against the Milwaukee Bucks. With no Zach LaVine and no Alex Caruso, this is going to be a difficult game to win. I'm not going to tell you they're going to win it. I don't even think it's going to be all that close. 12 is a hefty number. This strikes me as one of those that stays about 15 to 18 for the first 3.5 quarters. You see the Bucks kind of tap out. The reserves come in. The Bulls backdoor cover. Give me the Bulls plus the 12 under 218. My not going to be 2022 NBA champion Denver Nuggets. Or a 9-point dog tonight at the Warriors. Over-under is 26. I'm going to say very similarly to what I just said about the Bulls with the Nuggets, but I think they keep the game closer. I could see this being a backdoor cover. You're gritting your teeth late, but I'm taking my Nuggets plus the 9 under 226.
Go and do likewise, gents. The money's out there. You pick it up, it's yours. You don't, I got no sympathy for you.
Take those wagers to betus.com. As always, don't forget to use our promo code Sportsocracy and get a 125% deposit bonus on whatever you put in, up to $2,500. A whole lot of free play money there for you to grab.
These are hard nights when there's only 2 games and you have to make 4 picks, which means you're locked into the over/under and the spread. Right. I will say this: the bet us number on NBA champion has gone to an insane number. Milwaukee's plus 650. That's insane.
Jump on that.
The Boston Celtics are half of that. And it's all because of this narrative that, well, they beat the Nets, they must be great. Or maybe let's go a different path here and go, well, maybe the Nets were dog water. Because that's where I'm going to go with that. Hop on that Bucks plus 650. That's there's a lot of value in that.
In preparing for the NFL draft, I've been going through doing all the measurables on the players, and it's wild to me to be doing the height and the weights and all these guys and going and thinking about in 20 weeks with the PhD weight loss program, I have gone from a short defensive tackle to now being a short linebacker-ish weight, which is strange for me. I have now lost over 62 pounds with PhD.
You're still in that D3 defensive tackle. Just he's a little squatty. For me, I'm always going to be defensive end sized. But now I'm defensive end instead of defensive tackle. I always had issues with being a little lazy in my eating habits, eating what was most convenient, and that led to me being overweight, not sleeping well, and many other health problems. Now, thanks to PhD, I feel great. I'm back to my high school weight, and I can tell people I'm the same size as high-end NFL defensive linemen just without any of the athleticism.
You can have great success just like us with PhD Weight Loss. Go to myphdweightloss.com, and PhD Weight Loss is proud to announce that they are now the official weight loss program of the Clemson Tigers and their fans. We'll have more NFL draft coverage coming up after SportsCenter here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front swept through last night, and you can feel that lower humidity. We're talking some 30s in the higher elevations tonight, around 40 in the valley. Mostly sunny Thursday, 70 degrees, just the quintessential beautiful spring day here for Thursday and Friday. Upper 60s near 70 and cool nighttime low temps in the 40s and 50s. Some thunderstorms this weekend with temperatures climbing back up through the 70s. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Northern Tool and Equipment. Demo Day is this Saturday at Northern Tool and Equipment. Bring the family for product demos, free food, exclusive offers, and a free gift to the first 75 customers. Find your nearest store at northerntool.com.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Sharing sides is good. Getting enough so you don't have to, that's finger licking good. Choose 3 large KFC sides, like secret recipe fries or creamy mac and cheese with 8 pieces of tenders or fried chicken when you get KFC's Side Lovers Meal. Order now on the KFC app. Prices and participation may vary.
Sure, you can use your phone to call a radio station, but iHeartRadio's revolutionized the way you talk to us. Introducing the TalkBack mic inside the free iHeartRadio app. Here's how to use it. Just listen to your favorite iHeartRadio station on the app. When you have something to say, tap the TalkBack mic and record your message. You can even listen back to make sure your message sounds perfect. After all, it could end up on the radio. Talk to your favorite iHeartRadio stations with one tap, only on the free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio. From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Bulls will be without guards Zach LaVine and Alex Caruso in a must-win against the Bucks in Game 5 of their first-round NBA playoff series tonight. LaVine in health and safety protocols while Caruso's out due to concussion protocol. Game 5, 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio. No more minutes restrictions for Steph Curry, but the Warriors have yet to say if he'll return to his starting role against the Nuggets tonight. Curry, who missed about a month with a foot injury, has come off the bench the first 4 games of the series. When Steph is back in the starting lineup, somebody's got to move to the bench. Not an easy call, notes ESPN Warriors reporter Kendra Andrews.
Is it going to be Jordan Poole, who has exceeded everyone's expectations in the way that he's filled in for Steph? Will it be Kevon Looney? Will they start that small ball lineup right away, even though they're playing against arguably the best center in the NBA? Or will it be Andrew Wiggins, who, yes, has had a quieter, a smaller role, but the Warriors have been very pleased with the way he's played this series.
Golden State moves on with a win tonight. NFL Jags and tackle Cam Robinson agreed on a 3-year, $54 million extension.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Now, here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Spring. That's spring. Enter that keyword at our website now for a chance to win $1,000.
Log on to ESPNAVL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets.
And welcome back into the Ingles Studio here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. And, of course, the Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Coming to you live from the Ingles Studio. Ingles Supermarkets, low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. He's at ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene, and this is Draftmas Eve.
Oh, Draftmas tree, oh, Draftmas tree.
It is the most wonderful time of the year, and we will be covering each and every pick live in the YouTube stream. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, it's not too late to do so. You can do so at your leisure, but I would suggest that you do it now so you will be able to get all of our team-by-team content. We will be doing the 7-round final mock draft by Draftmas coming up on the channel over the next 24 hours. You will see those roll out.
It's a lot of draft.
It is. All 262 picks will be in our team-by-team videos, and we will also, of course, have every pick covered live over the 3 days, Thursday night, Friday night, and all day on Saturday here in the Ingles Studio. We are talking about position breakdowns for the draft. Who's Draftmas's boom, bust, better than you think, and sleeper at every position. And we promised you we're going to talk about the primo position on the defensive side of the ball. It's edge rusher. And, man, this is a deep class.
It's very good. You don't have to take one in the first round to get a quality guy. I mean, there are a slew of players that will go on day 2 that I think can come into this league and be very – very good off the edge. Now, there is a clear delineation to me, but even with that, we've had the Giants chalked up to take an edge rusher the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as sure of that as I used to be.
Really?
I could see a path they wait till the second round. There are a lot of teams talking about Boye Mafe, which makes me think there's a possibility he goes at the back end of tomorrow night.
Yeah. Well, he really popped onto the scene at the Senior Bowl when, what was it, he had 2 strip sacks?
Mm-hmm. He was tremendous in Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I liked him before that. That was just confirmation of what I had already seen.
And that was like his true coming out party. Being from Minnesota, maybe you didn't see him a whole lot during the season, and that's when he popped on the screen. Or on the scene, I guess I should say. So the boom of the edge rusher class, is it the guys at the top? Is it the guy that's going to go number 1 overall in Trayvon Walker?
He scares me to death. I mean, I'm not lying. Trayvon Walker scares me to death. He could be great. He could be Vernon Golston. Neither one would shock me even a little bit. And the fact that it's the Jacksonville Jaguars doing it, of course it is. The Jacksonville Jaguars are like that friend we all have that plays a lot of video games. And he says, oh, I got a new girlfriend. And then they show up somewhere and you just look at her and go, of course you did. That girl is, she is going to put cigarettes out on your couch.
I knew it was coming.
That's what's going to happen.
We all knew it was coming. The cigarettes on the couch. Still want to know what that girl's name is. He won't tell me.
I'll give you a hint. It ends with an I. All the great ones do.
All the great ones do. That's right. Love you, Andy.
Yeah.
That's my lovely wife.
See how I protected myself there
from
the possible rage?
So the boom of the edge rusher class may not be Trayvon Walker.
I'm really glad that this has gone the way that it has, because there's a guy that I've been really, really on, and I think there's a better than 0 chance he goes ahead of Kayvon Thibodeau now, and it's Jermaine Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard the Jets absolutely love him, which made me go back and watch tape on him. Now, I'm a Florida State fan, so I had seen a lot of him anyway, and it confirmed what I thought. As long as his hand's down, I'm in. I don't want him playing 3-4 end, and I don't think he's getting past the Jets at 4. I think he will go ahead of Kayvon Thibodeau. I went down the rabbit hole before the mock draft of, all right, fellas, if I'm going to boo-boo Kenny a pick, it is not going to be my own team.
Right.
And it was very quickly said to me, do not listen to the smoke about Mekhi Becton. We're fine on him. He's fine. We're fine. And we're not taking Kayvon Thibodeau.
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine Johnson. I love him as an end. On the other side of Carl Lawson, just – okay, the Jets draft, it's sitting up in front of me, and I'm just looking at it going, yes! Maybe we won't screw this up for once.
Right. Hopefully your team does not screw it up come draft day, because you got a whole lot of capital to be able to make some noise.
If we do what friend of the show Matt Miller says and take Evan Neal, I will be the one having a meltdown on camera like Brian Haynes did last year.
The bust of the defensive end class, This would be another Trayvon Walker.
The one that scares me is Trayvon Walker, for him going 1.
Yeah.
And look, I think he has a much safer floor than people think. I mean, I compare him to Vernon Golston.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to be 2 years into his career and he's touched as many quarterbacks as I have. I don't think there's a risk of that. I just don't really know what position he plays. And that really bothers me. Aiden Hutchinson, I'm not going to say he's a bust. I said this on I did Mark Rogers' show, Voice of College Football, yesterday, and I said Aiden Hutchinson may be a victim of his own draft position of, all right, if you got Trey Hendrickson at 2, would you really feel great about that? Or would you think, man, I took him at 2, I was expecting him to be Khalil Mack? Because I can tell you he's not going to be the latter, and I think the former is his high side. So that doesn't really put him into bust territory. It's just I'm afraid people are going to hold that against him for a long time. And then there's another one that, and it's hard to be a bust when you're going to go in the second round, but Arnold Ebiketie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can we stop with – I've seen him in the back end of first rounds going, are you people on hold on, I have a button for this.
I don't do drugs, though. Just weed.
Are you out of your mind? I like the kid and all, but all right, let's calm down on that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Arnold Ebiketie could be the bust of this class. How about the better than we think he's going to be?
I feel like Logan Hall has officially gotten around to, well, we all know that now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not really an edge. So to me, that means you're asking about somebody later, and I'm going to go back to a name that I said before he ran a 4.36, and that's Amari Barno. If you told me, and look, he's built like a bad words that I can't say on this radio. I couldn't think of any way to censor that.
Thank you. 6'6", 245 pounds.
And people go, oh, but he's thin, unless he stands up. And if he stands up, he's a freak of nature that I don't really know how he's not going to be at least a serviceable situational pass rusher.
No.
To me, he probably goes back into the third round, and I think he will be – he's so raw, but Virginia Tech's another one of those schools that I just prey on the fact that they weren't coached well. They come into the league, and they're better than they were in college.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised. I'm almost surprised you didn't say Sam Williams' name there.
Well, Sam Williams scares me because of the character issues.
Yeah, the red flags.
He could appear in I'm not going to say that. He could do bad things. There is the possibility that he does bad things, which is why it can't be him.
Mm-hmm.
Sheer talent, he's a beginning of the second round prospect, but there are so many red flags with him.
All right, let's talk about the sleeper of the edge rusher class in the 2022 NFL Draft.
Depends on what sleeper means.
Once
you get into like the fourth round,
mm-hmm.
I got news for you. You're not finding an edge rusher that's a real sleeper that late. So I wanted to preface it with that of I'm going to say this name, and people are going to go, but we've talked about him 1,000 times. Kingsley Enagbare. Okay. I feel like a 3-4 team is going to draft him because he has done nothing but fall like a rock, in spite of the fact he hasn't put on a jersey in months.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look at that and go, okay, you're going to be one of the last before the drop-off because he is a tremendous pass rusher. And if that's all you're asked to do, I think he's going to be really good in this league. But then there's a drop-off. Now, if you want somebody a little deeper than that, all right, I have to not cheat. I'll go Ayoma Owazariki from Iowa State. He's a guy I kept trying to shoehorn into the Jets, and every time I did it, I was like, okay, I'm taking him too high. Yes, I like you too much.
All right, so there's your edge rusher class. Very, very deep. I mean, there are guys in this draft that we ain't even talked about in this segment. D'Angelo Malone, who's a guy that I know you really like.
Oh, yeah. D'Angelo, the double Ds, D'Angelo Malone and Dominic Robinson.
Yep.
That should be part of the drinking game. How many times do I say those two guys' names before they're drafted?
And is it going to be more than I said Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah last year during the draft?
And if you take a sip of your drink every time I do it, will you be legally dead before they're drafted? Because it's entirely possible.
Yes.
Another name I just have to get out there because I do not understand why teams aren't seeing this, Drake Jackson from USC. I don't get it. For me, he's a first-round pick. He's not going to go there. It's going to make me angry, and then he's going to go to a smart team and be a force of nature. And why is that team the New England Patriots?
Okay. How about the hog-mollies? Let's talk about the hog-mollies on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive linemen of this class, we know that there are guys at the top of the draft. Ike Mekwonu gets talked about all the time. Who's going to be the boom bust, the better than we think, and the sleeper at offensive line? And yes, that was a tip of the cap to our good friend Brian Haynes, who will be joining
with us.
Yes,
Farley is joining us for the draft.
Football Farley, who's the Giants fan that lost his mind during last year's draft coverage, will be joining us tomorrow night for the 5th and the 7th picks in the draft.
I don't know. Well, that and a nickel get you a hot cup of Jack Squat.
Offensive lineman, who's your boom?
It's Ike Mekwonu. This is the fact we're talking about who the first offensive lineman to go in this draft is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. And there's no doubt he's the best lineman in this draft.
Right.
Evan Neal may eat himself out of the league. Evan Neal may look like your before PhD pictures by week 1 of next year.
He very well could.
I don't get it. And there's good tape, and I think he's going to have a role in the league, but you can't really look at the two and not see the difference.
Right. And by the way, Duke Manyweather, which is a weird name, but he is the defensive line coach the offensive line coach, for Evan Neal. And he said he came out today with all of this. Y'all are sleeping on my guy. He's never had injury problems. He's never been a risk.
No, you're right. He's never had injury problems. He's had Reese's problems. And yeah, those scare me. Now, if he falls out of the top 10, which has been talked about a lot in the last 48 hours, okay, now you're getting into he could be the value of the draft.
Right.
Because I think he's very safe, short of some potential weight issues. But there is such a drop-off. Once you get the top 3, Trevor Penning, Zion Johnson, Tyler Linderbaum, and then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So does he fall into your bust category, Evan Neal?
No. I can't really believe I'm about to say this out loud. I'm starting to think the bust may end up being Charles Cross.
Really?
And I love Charles Cross. And to me, it's not what were we doing with him? Because he'll be a great pass blocker.
Mm-hmm.
I think this narrative that he can come in and be a great left tackle right off the jump is grossly overrated. He kind of reminds me of Andrew Thomas, that which is weird because he may end up playing on the other side of him for the New York Giants. I wanted Charles Cross to come in on the right side and transition to playing on the left, or wind up with a team like the Chargers where he's the right tackle of the future. That I really like. The idea that you're going to be the stalwart right off the jump, and I like him in Carolina because I like what's around him.
Mm-hmm.
But this narrative that he's going to be the first tackle taken scares me to death. And bust is a relative term because for me, I can't give you a guy that's going to go in the 3rd round.
Right.
And I don't really think there is a bust. Like Trevor Penning gets all this nonsense of, he's gigantic. Yes, he is. Go back and watch the tape. He had a perfect pass rec grade last year. Perfect.
But
he didn't stub his toe. I don't care if it was against a conference full of Girl Scouts. He didn't stub his toe one time.
Right. Level of competition with a guy out of Northern Iowa is always going to be something that the detractors will bring up.
And I get that. There's some thought that, he's just really big, and that's how he was so good because he's going up against smaller competition. I get that. I'm going to tell you a dirty little secret of people like me. We really fixate on players that the smart teams target, whether that's Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Just think of all the teams that draft really well.
Mm-hmm.
When we start seeing who they're locked in on and we start hearing things from them, I really shouldn't be speaking for the industry. I should be speaking for myself. I start really paying more attention to those players, and Penning was one of those this year. Baltimore has been on him since the jump of this process, and it's never stopped. And it made me go back and watch him, and I love him. Mm-hmm. I think he is very close to the other 3 that we talk about. Tyler Linderbaum's the highest-rated center I've ever had. he always got short arms. Should I do the Kenny Pickett little skip thing with him? And he's the best center I've ever graded, and it's not really all that close.
The offensive lineman in the 2022 NFL Draft at ESPN Draft Nerd believes is going to be better than we think.
Nick Petit-Frere.
At Ohio State.
And the NFL agrees with me. He's a guy that's going to go at the back end of the first or the very beginning of the second.
Mm-hmm.
I think his ceiling's probably Buffalo at 25. His floor is probably 40, somewhere down there.
Mm-hmm.
I would be shocked if he got by Seattle with their double up in the beginning of the second round.
Do you have...
And everybody just fixates on that Aiden Hutchinson tape. Oh, he gave up 3 sacks. And I don't really think that day went exactly how it was supposed to for anybody at Ohio State.
Right.
So let's start talking about that with Garrett Wilson or C.J. Stroud, whoever. He's going to be the number 1 pick next year. Okay, Let's talk about how big of a disaster that was, shall we?
Mm-hmm. And you understand the thought there that if he gave up that much to the best player in college football when he gets up against the big boys in the NFL, it could get pretty ugly.
I didn't say I didn't understand it. I said I don't agree with it.
Right. And your sleeper offensive lineman.
There are a bunch. You get into that second, the second wave. I haven't done that in a long time.
You have not.
Kalen Dyche is a guy I really like. I wish he was younger. I mean, he's 25 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me a little nervous. Max Mitchell's a guy I've talked about a lot. And then a bunch of small school guys. Dylan Parham, Cole Strange. There is so much depth. You're just going to have to bring it along. That's going to be the difference between the guy that goes in the second round, Dylan Parham, and the guy that goes at the end of the third round, Cole Strange. One can come in and play right away at the natural position where he's going to play for a long time. The other may have to hide at guard for a year, learn how to play in the NFL, get the body right. That's the difference. But there will be quality linemen taken in every round of this draft.
We are the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville and on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. We will continue with the best busts and all the rest of the NFL draft class coming up next. We'll be right back.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front swept through last night, and you can feel that lower humidity. We're talking some 30s in the higher elevations tonight, around 40 in the valley. Mostly sunny Thursday, 70 degrees, just a quintessential beautiful spring day here for Thursday and Friday. Upper 60s near 70 and cool nighttime low temps in the 40s and 50s. Some thunderstorms this weekend with temperatures climbing back up through the 70s. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound, heavy delays between Hendersonville Road to just after Airport Road. 26 eastbound, light delays between Brevard Road and the French Broad River. 40 westbound, heavy volume between Fines Creek Road and Harmon Den Road. Smoky Park Highway northbound approaching Sand Hill Road, light delays. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road northbound is stop and go between the Royal Pines area and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lynn Benfield with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by KFC. Sharing sides is good. Getting enough so you don't have to? That's finger licking good. Choose 3 large KFC sides, like secret recipe fries or creamy mac and cheese with 8 pieces of tenders or fried chicken when you get KFC's Side Lovers Meal. Order now on the KFC app. Prices of participation may vary.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready. And health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-391-2258. That's 800-391-2258. 800-391-2258.
Okay, let's start on unloading the sod over here.
The grass is always greener when Haruka's Lawn Care does the mowing.
And then we want to get the flower bed started before lunch.
They need a new landscaping designer to keep their budding business growing.
Oh, can we double check the incline here? This one needs to drain this way.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's. Today's topic, friends and family savings. Just in time for Mother's Day.
Speaking of, I got my mom the cutest pajamas for just $27.99. A trendy spring dress for under $25 and 65% off fine jewelry.
Ooh, she's one lucky lady.
So am I. Did I mention I got an extra 25% off? And because I'm a Kohl's Rewards member, an extra $20 off?
Count on Kohl's for more style and more savings.
Select styles, 20 off 100, valid in-store only. 25% off ends May 1st. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Did you know select Ingles markets now offer curbside service? Shopping has never been easier with all the quality and service you expect from Ingles. Visit ingles-markets.com to find a store near you and start shopping.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumber than a bag of hammers.
And we come to you live from the Ingles Studio. Ingles Supermarkets, low prices, love the savings. And we are going down the booms and the busts and the sleepers and all of that for every position group of this NFL draft class. Latest news, apparently, NFL insiders saying there's been no movement on a Deebo Samuel trade. So I don't think that should really shock you all that much.
It shouldn't if they think they're going to get a 10. And they're going to get 10 overall and more.
But let's talk about the wide receivers that are available in this draft. Who is your boom wide receiver? We know that there are thoughts that there could be 7 wide receivers taken in the first round.
I won't be shocked by that at all. The ones you know, Jameson Williams, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave. Then you get into that second tier. I think George Pickens probably goes in round 1 because he can play on the outside. Been a lot of talk about Sky Moore, a lot of talk about Christian Watson. Jahan Dotson is the forgotten player at wide receiver, which somebody's going to get a value in him in day 2. My boom player is still Drake London. I know there's been a lot made about separation in the NFL. Yeah, I heard the exact same thing about Mike Evans. And it didn't pan out that way because the thing that nobody ever thinks about when they say this, he's 6'5". How many corners in the NFL do you think that's really a problem with? Okay, let's say he can't separate.
Right.
He's still going to demolish you at the point of attack, attacking the ball. He's got good hands, and he's a USC player, and they always get better unless they play quarterback.
And if he
if they're drafted by the Jets.
And if he could be anywhere as consistent as Mike Evans, somebody's going to get a heck of a pick in this draft with Drake London, the bust wide receiver of the draft class.
I don't really think any of them are busts. If there's one that scares me, it's Jameson Williams.
Because of the injury?
The injury didn't help, but not really. I never saw him there. I liked Garrett Wilson better. I liked Drake London better the entire time. There's this narrative, and I don't really know 100% where it's coming from, of he's just this pristine route runner. He's nowhere near as good a route runner as Olave or Wilson, either of the Ohio State guys.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a great deep threat. Well, he's very fast. I'll give you that. And I think he's going to be a great deep threat in the NFL. There is a possibility that he's very Deshaun Jackson in this league. Where, yes, if you get the ball in his hand, that's phenomenal. You better have a quarterback with a cannon because that's what he does best, is hit you over the top.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not trying to slight the kid. I'm just saying this narrative that he should no doubt be the first receiver taken this draft is insane to me. The fact that we haven't seen him for several months after the injury, that's where I start to get into the, okay, are you really not seeing how much safer Garrett Wilson is here, or is it just me?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say he's a bust. The range on him is very wide.
And fans get swayed a lot by the stats. And when you see a guy that had over 1,500 yards receiving and 15 touchdowns this past year, people are going to believe that. He's going to be a no-doubter.
I'm going to answer a question Joshua Snyder asked in our YouTube comments about Tyquan Thornton, and it's solely because I absolutely love being asked this question. There's talk that he could go as high as the second round. And I get that he ran a 4.02 or whatever. I can't remember the exact number on him. Did he learn to catch at any point in the last 4 months? Because that's my number one question.
4.28.
Yeah,
is what he ran.
And he's 6'2.5". Mm-hmm. So he's got a great NFL body. The problem is I've never seen him be that level of receiver. To me, he's a 5, and he's a 5 because of how fast he ran. I had him as a late take a shot on him in the 6th, 7th round kind of guy. Those guys always scare me. They almost never work out.
Who's better than we think they're going to be?
George Pickens.
Yeah.
George Pickens is the guy that as time has gone on, I have hitched my little red wagon to him aggressively.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always liked him. It was the knee injury, and then you didn't see him, and it kept him out longer than I thought it would. And then he made a play in the national title game where I went, there it is.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Yep. And as long as you're that guy in the NFL, I don't care that you didn't really play the last year at Georgia. I think he is better than people think.
The sleeper wide receiver for the 2022 NFL Draft?
I'll bet you $1 to a donut you can tell me who I'm going to say right here.
I don't know.
It's Wan'Dale Robinson.
Oh, yeah.
I just love that now he has gone back to exactly where he started, which means he can be my little boyfriend again. And 3 years from now, when you look at him and go, how did he fall all the way to 100? I can go, he wouldn't have with me.
Right.
He's Deebo Samuel and a better and more of a move piece out of the backfield. He plays that weird little Deebo Samuel position better than anybody I think I've ever seen. And he's going to fall, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to love him probably wherever he goes. My fear is he ends up in like Jacksonville or somewhere like that, Houston. Please don't do that. Go to a good team. Go to San Francisco, replace Deebo. Deebo can come play for the Jets. We'll give you 39-69. We'll be done. That's right. And then we're all happy.
Well, there has been some talk that he could go in the back end of the first round.
Wan'Dale?
No. Pickens.
Pickens will go in the back end of the first round. I have him at 22 to Green Bay. They sit still. Kansas City doesn't, and it's because they want an outside receiver, and they just sit back there and get one that falls in their laps. Because I don't think he can go any higher than that.
Many believe he is the best true outside receiver in this class. And
I would agree with that. I think Drake London can be really good on the outside. I know he played a lot in the slot at USC. What they do in college doesn't always mean as much to me. It's what can you branch out into? And George Pickens is just ready-made. He comes in and immediately is going to be your X receiver. He'd be a starter week 1, and I really like him.
All right, we'll wrap up the breakdowns of the class coming up after we get weird with the defensive backs.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
I just heard what I said in my own head, and we're not getting weird with the defensive backs. I should have said that differently. But one thing, weird thing did happen on Staten Island up in New York, as they had to shut down the MTA bus depot in New Springville late on Monday night after a suspicious object was found on a bus. The bus driver or whoever was cleaning out the bus after the route saw something suspicious behind the driver's seat and immediately called authorities because this thing looked like a bomb. It had canisters containing liquid. It had wires sticking out of it. It had a clock on it. It looked like a bomb. And so they shut everything down, and they had to inspect all the buses to make sure that there wasn't anything else on any other bus. And now police have come to the conclusion that some kid left his science project on the bus behind the bus driver's seat. And obviously. You can imagine what shutting down a bus depot on Staten Island, even if it was late at night, what kind of trouble that's going to cause.
I need somebody to explain this to me. If you watch this show for any period of time, you know that the world we live in drives me to drinking on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something I have long said is grossly overrated has paid off for a family to the tune of a number that is astronomical. Eric and Athena Tinsar, they bought a house in Massachusetts. It was their dream house. It was right off a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I've long said that is the most overrated thing in the world is living on a golf course. And here's why. Because over the course of a year, their house was hit with 691 golf balls. They said it was a living nightmare, and their dream house turned into their nightmare house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, they went to court, and they sued the country club for not protecting their house. They awarded them $4.93 million.
Are you kidding me?
You live on a golf course!
What do you expect?
Your house is getting hit by golf balls because your house is in the way of the golf ball. That's like suing an aviary because you have bird poo on your roof when you live next to an aviary.
$4.9 million.
They should have sued you for $4.9 million for a stupid lawsuit.
Yeah,
you bought the house. It's not like you built the house and then somebody went, ooh, this looks like a great place for a golf course.
Like you knew that was going to happen.
You drove in the driveway.
Right.
I play a lot of golf, and I'm going to be honest with you. I drink a lot of beers while I do it, which means if you live on a golf course in the Asheville, North Carolina area from like hole, 13 on, there's a possibility that your house might be in danger.
Right.
You knew that when you bought the house. What is happening?
I'm going to bet you that country club's going to put up a net or something at this point.
How are you
$5 million.
supposed to protect their house? You want me to protect your house? Move! You don't want your house hit by golf balls? Then don't live on a golf course.
I hear no lies. I hear no lies.
I had that story 3 days ago, and I genuinely have had to resist the urge to tell it for 2 days.
Their question, they are asking the question in the comments on the YouTube channel. Was that the I'm mad today?
It could be, because I don't know that I've got that angry in me again. That is the most overrated thing on earth. My best friend just built a house on a golf course, and my number one question to him was, how many times have we hit houses on golf courses with golf balls and then had to get in the cart? And I keep a different colored ball in my bag just so if I hit a house, I can go, no, I use these. Yeah. These are red. That one's white. I didn't. There are no lies told in what I just said.
Have you ever had to use that excuse?
Oh, good Lord, yes. I put one in somebody's house one time.
Oh.
They had their French door open. I put it in the living room, and he came out like there was nowhere here you couldn't have broken something except where you hit it.
Nice. Honestly, Day Saints #1 in the YouTube comments says that was a worthy investment. $4.9 million.
The only thing that scares me is as a golfer, now I have to play at golf courses that are in the desert where no one would live. I have to play golf now in Antarctica because somebody might sue me for hitting their house that they put in the middle of my golf course.
I wonder how much the fees are going to go up at that country club.
Oh, quite a bit. I would say a round now costs $400. Then again, everything else is getting more expensive. So
yeah,
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about
politics. We don't do that here.
No.
We infer it.
Talk about the defensive backs in this 2022 NFL draft class. Jeremy, let's start out with the safeties. I feel like this could be quick. The safeties in this class.
Not as quick as you think.
Who is your boom safety?
I mean, the boom safety's Kyle Hamilton. He's the best safety of the draft by a mile.
And could be the best value of the draft.
Yeah, because he's going to fall. I mean, people are just worried about what he ran, and that made him go back and look at the tape. And, well, he can never be a single high safety. Did you think he was? He always projected as more of a Jamal Adams type of safety anyway. I just don't understand why this is such a big deal. So, I mean, boom, I'm going to say Kyle Hamilton because he's my number one player in this draft.
Who's your bust?
The Jalen Petrie thing is bothering me.
What about
I
him?
like him as a player, and I like him in certain situations. If he goes to – I have been told his floor is Kansas City. If Kansas City stays at 29 and 30, he will be one of those two picks. All right. You're going to play the Tyrann Mathieu role. I can get down with that. Move you around. That allows you to do all of the things that teams want you to do. Then I heard, well, the Giants like him too. Okay, Wink Martindale, you know how to use players. But then it was all these teams that are planning on playing him as a single high safety, and I'm going, have you ever watched him? Like, have you seen a second of tape on him? It doesn't make any sense. So I'll say Jalen Petrie, barring where he goes.
So he's not the ball hawker center field guy.
I don't want to. It just doesn't make any sense. It's not what he does. At this point, I feel like we need to break down safeties the same way we break down defensive linemen. Come up with a term for the 0, the 1, the 3, the 5 technique. What is it that you do? Because I feel like now there's this, and I can't call it anything but the Tyrann Mathieu role because there's two safeties in this class, Jalen Petrie and Dax Hill, that fit it perfectly. If you cast them to do anything else, I like them half as much as I did before. I love them in that role. That's the reason I've had Baltimore taking Daxton Hill for as long as I can remember. Doesn't hurt that their defensive coordinator was his defensive coordinator. But that's neither here nor there.
All right, we've got a super chat. You got the button ready?
Oh, got to get to the button.
Get that button ready.
Nope, not that
you
button.
too can super chat and have your question go to the top of the list. Rob Johnson asks, Sin or Brisker? Lewis Sin or Jaquan Brisker? Who ends up being better?
I'll say Sin because there's more move to him. I love Brisker as a box just enforcer. I've had Brisker going to the Saints for as long as I can remember because the thought of him and Marcus May playing in the back half of that New Orleans defense is just intoxicating to me. That's the best of the back end with the Jets, and you've got a corner that might actually slow someone down. They're just two different players. You can play them together if a team went, we're going to really fix this and take them both in rounds 1 and 2.
Better than you think they're going to be. Safety.
Can I answer Kyle Hamilton again? Because everybody seems to hate him all of a sudden, and it makes no sense. In the last 24 hours, it seems like Washington's even moved off him, which means he could fall like a rock. He could fall into the 20s.
Really?
Which is just mind-boggling to me.
You don't think Philadelphia would snatch him up?
I do think they would, depending on who was there.
Yeah.
If Jordan Davis is there at 15, they're taking Jordan Davis. Period. End of discussion.
God, what if they could get them both? That'd be crazy.
And it's possible. It just depends on what happens in front of them.
Right.
The problem for them is that I think if the two corners are gone, Minnesota would take him at 12. Would take Jordan Davis at 12. Then it would become, okay, now we're going to take Kyle Hamilton. We'll figure out where he plays from there. The safety I'll say is better than you think is Brian Cook. This kid was a 0-star recruit, played at Howard, transferred to Cincinnati. The defense was so good and had so many players that just didn't talk about him that much. He'll go with the back end of day 2, and he's going to be a day 1 starter for somebody. And he fits that Detroit Lions just – you might catch it, but it's going to hurt. And I love the tape on him. And I love his attitude. I've said this before. I had a couple guys at the Combine that, we do different things together with the draft. And somehow they got Brian Cook on their show, and in 8 minutes, I absolutely fell in love with the kid. And now I want him on every team that needs a safety.
Sleeper safety.
There's a chance this kid doesn't get drafted, so he fits. It's Isaiah Polamalu. And he may play that Isaiah Simmons weird role because he's not as fast as you'd want him to be. His tackling technique is going to possibly get him killed. But, man, the raw in him is so good. A guy that I know is going to get drafted, Yusuf Corker.
Okay.
I love him as well.
All right. Let's take a break, and then we will finish out the show with the cornerbacks. Sound like a plan? We'll do that. Now it's time for something to chew on with our good friend, Caleb Peake.
I think this entire season, from the Nets and the Lakers' perspective, and across the league, it's a little bit of a cautionary tale about roster construction.
Tell me.
Because it's very difficult to have an extremely top-heavy roster without depth, especially when that depth or your superstars are not homegrown.
Congrats, Brooklyn. You played yourself. This is Chew on That, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. I'm Caleb Peak, and here's a stat for you. For the first time in 35 years, the preseason favorite to claim the Larry O'Brien Trophy failed to win a single game in the playoffs. Let that sink in for a minute. It's almost like watching a team blow a playoff series after going up 3-0, which has never happened in the history of the association because it shouldn't happen. That clip you just heard was ESPN's J.J. Redick describing a first-round meltdown worthy of mention in the same sentence as, say, Chernobyl or even John McEnroe circa June 1981. The demise of the Brooklyn Nets championship hopes was somehow both totally fascinating and undeniably cringeworthy, all at the same time. The pieces were there. The playmakers, and I use that term loosely now, were in place. Yet, KD, Kyrie, and company are making early vacation arrangements after a 4-game sweep. So what's the moral of the story? I could say it, but frankly, the big ticket does a much better job.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
Sure it is, KG, but let me add an asterisk here. Anything is possible, as long as your best players are playing like your best players. That was the case for the NBA's original Big Three, Pierce, Allen, Garnett, when Boston got their long-awaited revenge on LA back in 2008. But let's just be honest with ourselves. The whole concept of a Big Three doesn't work at all when put into practice. Because if you live and work in the real world, you already know this. It's always something. In L.A., Jeannie Buss sold the farm by shipping out Alex Caruso, Kyle Kuzma, and the supporting backbone of the Lake Show that brought home a title in 2020 just to pay for the decomposing boneyard made up of Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, the train wreck that is Russell Westbrook, and a LeBron James that for the first time in his career is facing irrelevance in the league. How did it go? Well, AD is held together with super glue and $190 million. Dwight Howard's too busy appearing on The Masked Singer to focus on winning a title. And LeBron is just too old to carry an entire team like he has every year since 2003. It's backbreaking work. Preseason in Brooklyn, the media saw past his prologue. KD was a great scorer. KD was a back-to-back champion in 2017 and 18. Kyrie was a prolific point guard pre-COVID. And later, Ben Simmons was a #1 draft pick with character issues that would fix themselves in time. And yet, here we are. 21 total games played together all season. 26th in the league in roster continuity. Call it fate, call it Murphy's Law, but the best laid plans of mice and men oft go awry. Things fall apart. Which explains why a sturdy, well-built, homegrown squad with one or at most two main stars are showing out in round one of the playoffs, primarily Dallas and Memphis. A roster full of two-way players, as J.J. Redick puts it, is what kept Dallas afloat while Luka Doncic missed the first two games against Utah. But watch what happens when your best player is actually your best player. In 2 games back, Luka's averaging 31.5 points per game, 11.5 boards per game, and he's having a lot of fun doing it. American Airlines Center was electric. Donovan Mitchell is injured, and the gravitational pull of the series has completely shifted toward the Mavs because of one player. Meanwhile, in Memphis, Desmond Bane is a solid scorer and carried the brunt of the offensive load along with Dillon Brooks, while Ja Morant missed time with a sore knee in March. Steven Adams stays in his lane, pulling down 10 boards a game. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is a natural eraser, blocking everything within arm's reach. And still, the T-Wolves, as a 7 seed, have 2 of the scariest guys in the league wearing the same colors in Cat and Anthony Edwards. One, a legitimate fortress on defense, and the other a manipulative wizard on the offensive side. But neither one of these guys are the best players on the floor. That's reserved for this kid.
Winner takes a 3-2 lead in his opening round series. Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker!
When John Morant is doing that, the Memphis Grizzlies are absolutely daunting. Morant led scoring last night with 30, but here's the kicker. Without Ja's second-half rally, Minnesota, not Memphis, leads this series going into Game 6. If the best player on the court wasn't actually the best player on the court, the 2 seed would find themselves in a 3-2 hole to number 7. Not the other way around. Let the record show that a long-term plan will always beat a trendy fad. While parts of the NBA have embraced the Big Three model over the last dozen years, the teams that are winning now spent that time building strong, sinewy organizations. The teams that are winning now may not get a lot of love preseason, but you better believe they're flexing come playoff season. And when their players are actually playing their best, they'll always have a chance, even when they're down 11 with 8 minutes to play. I'm Caleb Peak. That's something to chew on.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Heavy traffic volume, 26 westbound between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Heavy delays 40 westbound in Haywood County between Vines Creek Road and Harmondon Road. New Leicester Highway westbound near Elida Home Road. Traffic is slow. Smoky Park Highway north and southbound approaching Sand Hill Road. Delays. Near Avery Creek Boulevard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road is slow. And Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road. Delays. I'm Lynn Benfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Finding a great hire can be a challenge. That's why there's Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 toward your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the quickest podcast ever, brought to you by Kohl's.
Today's topic, friends and family savings.
Just in time for Mother's Day.
Speaking of, I got my mom the cutest pajamas for just $27.99. A trendy spring dress for under $25 and 65% off fine jewelry.
Ooh, she's one lucky lady.
So am I. Did I mention I got an extra 25% off? And because I'm a Kohl's Rewards member, an extra $20 off?
Count on Kohl's for more style and more savings.
Select styles, 20 off 100, valid in-store only. 25% off ends May 1st. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohls.com for details.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like the course keeps changing right before your eyes. And in order to maneuver it, you need an expert by your side. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the Windows PC and tech solutions you need to help you get out in front and stay ahead of the game. Call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL. A start to a simpler experience with Windows 11 Pro.
Invisible Fence brand is changing the way people live with their pets. Experienced professionals provide pets independence to play outside while providing you confidence they're secure. Visit InvisibleFence.com to learn more. Invisible Fence brand. Surround your pets with care.
Okay, let's start unloading the sod over here.
The grass is always greener when Haruka's Lawn Care does the mowing.
And then we want to get the flower bed started before lunch.
They need a new landscaping designer to keep their budding business growing.
Oh, can we double check the incline here? This one needs to drain this way.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
At Ingles, we know firsthand that building a dream isn't easy. That's why we help small businesses discover the right ingredients for success. We mentor them in development, design, and distribution, making sure their hard work makes it into our stores and our communities, delivering the best local products, and hopefully, a few dreams along the way. Ingles, your neighbor for over 50 years.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
It is the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville and seen everywhere on YouTube. We will be doing a special rapid-fire Mullets Draftmas Eve mailbag coming up immediately following this show on the YouTube stream. So just go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
We'll do another one of those for members at 7 o'clock tomorrow before we go out live for the draft, and then we'll be the most oversaturated two humans on the planet for the next 4 days.
That's right. We'll be covering each and every pick of the draft tomorrow night, Friday night, and all day on Saturday on the YouTube stream. Now, we've broken down every position in the NFL draft except for cornerbacks. So to close out the program here, Jeremy, who is your boom cornerback in the 2022 NFL draft?
Ahmad Gardner. I mean, he's, to me, no doubt. I don't care about the system. I don't care about the scheme. There is really nothing he can't do. He is, and I had him that way before the Derek Stingley fall, which I still don't understand where that came from. And now it looks like he's going to go 3 to Houston. That's about where he should have been. It's not like the tape changed. That's what I never really got with him. Were you just not paying attention for 2 years, or? Yeah, he's got injury issues, and he's had inconsistency issues. So has LSU. So has the defensive coordinator position at LSU.
And then he absolutely crushed his pro day, and it seems like since then everybody's gotten back on the Derek Stingley bandwagon.
And it wasn't the pro day. It's just getting intoxicated by the high side. I mean, the high end of his potential is as high, if not higher, than every player in the draft. So a lot of teams are worried they're going to look like fools because they passed on him, which is the reason I think he ultimately goes at 3 to Houston.
The bust corner of the draft?
The one that scares me is Kyler Gordon, because he's gotten – to me, he's so scheme-specific that I think the lack of high-end corners – there's 2 really good corners in this draft, Gardner and Stingley. Mm-hmm. Then there's a drop-off to McDuffie – I have Roger McCreary and Andrew Booth in that next tier. McCreary has short arms. Okay. I've heard that 900,000 times. But I have them all ahead of Kyler Gordon. If he goes in the early second round range, I'm okay. If he goes to a team like the Jets, the 49ers, the Seahawks, all of those are fine. What scares me if he winds up in – people look at his ability to press and don't realize what him and man looked like at times. Can he develop into that? Sure. But you kind of want that to already be done if you're going to take a guy in the top 25, which is where – I mean, I've seen him as high as 12 to Minnesota, and that's – okay, we're –
I don't do drugs, though. Just weed.
Calm it down.
Right.
So I hate to say bust because that's very depending on where he goes, but he's the one that scares me the most.
The corner who is going to be better than we think.
I'm going to go Darian Kendrick because he apparently was just yelling obscenities at people in his interviews because he has dropped like a rock. I mean, to me, he's still that end of day 2 kind of guy. He's still learning the position. He's super raw. And I don't get it. I don't get what people are seeing, but solely because the drop-off is so unbelievably stout. Mm-hmm. When you get past, I would say, Martin Emerson, who I have going at the end of the second round, once you get into those third-round corners, it is, who knows?
Right.
You might be good. You might not be able to play dead in the Western. I don't know. It's so scheme-dependent.
So after that, who's the sleeper?
Cordell Flott.
Okay.
I love him, and the more we have gone through this process, the more I have loved him. He needs to eat 11 cheeseburgers a day for about the next 6 months because he is super thin.
Mm-hmm.
But the fluidity, the footwork, all of it translates to he's probably going to go higher than I think. there were a lot of people that were completely off of him because of how thin he was. Now it seems that, okay, you figured out, well, LSU's been kind of a dumpster fire under Go Tigers, minus Joe Burrow. So he, to me, is the one that projects as a starter, longtime starter in the league that's not going to go in that first 65 picks.
All right, there it is, your position breakdowns for the 2022 NFL Draft. Tyler Cunningham says, Jeremy, you need to get some rest because we don't want to see Tank's hair if you pass out tomorrow from high blood pressure. Tyler,
there's actually more of a risk that caffeine just overtakes me and I disappear for 7 minutes to run around the building about 14 times.
I was going to say, Tyler, if you see my hair, please let me know because I'm looking for it as well. We'll have all of
it's
the
like
coverage.
Sasquatch, very mythical. It's been talked about, not seen very often.
All of the coverage will be in the Sportsocracy on YouTube. All 262 picks will be live here tomorrow at 3 on ESPN Asheville. You will see the first round final mock draft of the Sportsocracy and Flostradamus Jeremy Greene. Mullet's Mailbag, the final one before the NFL Draft, coming up after this on the YouTube stream. Go to thesportsocracy.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, cold front swept through last night, and you can feel that lower humidity. We're talking some 30s in the higher elevations tonight, around 40 in the valley. Mostly sunny Thursday, 70 degrees, just the quintessential beautiful spring day here for Thursday and Friday. Upper 60s near 70 and cool nighttime low temps in the 40s and 50s. Some thunderstorms this weekend with temperatures climbing back up through the 70s. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by KFC. Sharing sides is good. Getting enough so you don't have to? That's finger licking good. Choose 3 large KFC sides, like secret recipe fries or creamy mac and cheese with 8 pieces of tenders or fried chicken when you get KFC's Side Lovers Meal. Order now on the KFC app. Prices and participation may vary.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Heavy traffic volume, 26 westbound between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Heavy delays 40 westbound in Haywood County between Vines Creek Road and Harmondon Road. New Leicester Highway westbound near Elida Home Road. Traffic is slow. Smoky Park Highway north and southbound approaching Sand Hill Road. Delays. Near Avery Creek Boulevard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road is slow. And Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road. Delays. I'm Lynn Benfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up. From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
And welcome back into the Ingles Studio. We are the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's at ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene. And it is time for Mullet's Draft Mailbag.
We have a lot of mullet things around here.
We do.
We have a lot of shit that's really hinged on my hair.
Well, we have to. I mean, it takes on a life of its own. Again, my hair is dead, so it can't take on
Your
life
hair
of its
is
own.
the Sasquatch of hairs. You need to do that Drew Brees thing and wind up with some fictitious hairs.
Okay. It was, who was it? John DeLon said, you know, it's like George Costanza said, these are not scrap, these are the historic remains of a once great society of hair.
I don't know that it was ever great. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I feel like it's been wispy at best since about 1997.
It has been. It has been. All right, let's get into the questions here. Fire them away. We will get to them in order here.
As quick as humanly possible.
Yeah,
we have 32 team mock drafts to do. tonight.
That's right. We are going hard and heavy here in the Sportsocracy until Saturday at 6:30, and we want you all to be along for the ride. Now, who moves up? This is from Stephen Tao. Up to the 32nd pick to get that fifth-year option on a quarterback.
Teams to watch: Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans to move back, Atlanta. Atlanta's a team to keep an eye on. I know they like Matt Corral. That's the hard part about quarterback is there's just not a lot of teams that love these quarterbacks. I kind of want to hand the number of teams that I have heard love a quarterback in this draft. Pan, I think, asked earlier why we were so committed to Malik Willis to Pittsburgh. They're the only team I know that loves him. Everybody else is like, oh yeah, he could be I mean, he's the Diet Coke of NFL quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drink it if you hand it to me, but I ain't jumping up and down about it.
Okay. Are there any draft prospects that played one position in college but projects to a fairly different position in the NFL that could realistically make a roster? That's from John DeLon.
There's a couple that are either going to be undrafted free agents or very late. Derek King from Miami is one. He projects as probably a receiver. He's not playing quarterback, and there have been a lot of teams interested in him. So they're looking at the athletic potential going, what can you be? The other one's named Jared Bernhardt. He was a quarterback at Ferris State, and the Denver Broncos have really been hot on him to play wide receiver. He was the Heisman Trophy winner of lacrosse at Maryland. I think it was at Maryland. And then transferred to play football at Ferris State. He did the Greg Paulus thing.
Mm-hmm.
I eclipsed my 4 years of eligibility doing this, and now I'm going to do something else. I don't necessarily think he's going to get drafted, but he could make a roster as a practice squad, undrafted free agent that you try to mold. There are a lot more guys like that. Those are the two that are the most drastic, where they started at a position and now they're going to do something completely different. A lot of guys that played edge and now they're going to play inside, or they play linebacker. Safeties are going to become linebackers. Different things like that. But in terms of you were A and now you're R, those are the two that came to mind when I saw that.
All right, Nola Dynasty setting up his question here says the Jets don't need a single or a double. We saw Chase's and Jamar Jefferson impact. Jameson Williams at 10 would be a home run. Stingley Jr. at 4 is the closest thing to Lattimore. Stingley at 4, Jameson at 10, 1-10 rating.
It would be to me it'd be a solid 8. The only problem is neither of them are going to be there. Derek Stingley's going to go at 3 to Houston. If you've watched the betting line on that all day long, look, I heard somebody say this line in one of our videos the other day, and I have laughed about it since. They build tall buildings in Las Vegas for a reason, and it is not because they have a habit of being wrong. And now Derek Stingley is the overwhelming favorite to go 3. I don't think it's smoke. The question then becomes with the Jets at 4, what do you do then? And I've said the entire time, Robert Saleh does not emphasize corners. And I know somebody's going to say, but what did they just give DJ Reed? That's kind of my point. They gave him that with the intention. He's going to be the one. Bryce Hall will be the 2 who they love. Michael Carter that they took last year will play in the slot with some mixture of Javelin Guidry. They've got a slew of guys that they took last year. Jason Pinnock. And it just, to me, the Sauce thing never made a lot of sense with the Jets. You're using high-end draft capital to take a player that your very entrenched coach does not prioritize. It always made more sense to go pass rusher, receiver, if you can't work something out with Debo. Here's something I've heard today. You said there was no traction on the Debo thing?
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit.
Oh, okay.
That is straight bullshit. The 49ers know there's one team. Now the question is, what do you want to do? Do you want to pay him, or do you want to deal him? And the deal is exactly what I've said it was the entire time, 38 and 69. Second rounder and their third rounder for Debo for them to pay him $1 bajillion. You will know at pick 10 if that's going to happen. Here's why. If they take Garrett Wilson at 10, it appears he will be there.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way I think this is going to go, they will take Jermaine Johnson at 4. They are higher on him than anybody in this draft, and I'm going to be honest with you, that's saying a lot because he wouldn't make it out of the top 10 regardless. They like him better than KT. I had somebody in the organization tell me today they prioritize Jermaine Johnson over KT. So just do with that what you will.
Yep.
Joe Douglas is apparently going to win this because the staff loved Thibodeau, loves the burst, all those things. Douglas is drunk on Jermaine Johnson, and apparently that's the compromise. They'll take Jermaine Johnson at 4. At 10, I would say in order their priority would be Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams, Drake London, and then you get to Sauce.
Mm-hmm.
My curiosity is, and the second side of this, the breaky about this, if Garrett Wilson and Jamison Williams were gone, don't be shocked if the Jets are the team that the Chargers trade up with for Charles Cross.
The Last Legend asks, does George Pickens have character issues?
No. He has
he has
I should
feistiness issues.
I should not have said that as quickly. He has maturity issues.
Yes.
It's not really a character issue. He's very ultra competitive. When I hear character issues, I'm thinking, Devontae Wyatt, Sam Williams, Smoke Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are guys that have allegedly done some bad shit. I don't have that with George Pickens. He needs to mature.
Yeah. I mean, everybody looks back to that fight in the Georgia Tech game.
Well, and that's kind of like, the old line about bridge builders. You build 5,000 bridges, bridge builder.
Right.
You won, and you're a jib blower.
Jib blower. Very nice. And at the top of this mullet mailbag, I said this is going to be the last one. It is not going to be the last one. We will do a mullet mailbag, but only for members of the House of Reprehensibles.
And look, I'm going to be really honest with you. That's not a money play. That's hey, this would be nice for the people that are nice enough to give their $2.99 for their little beer mug in the chat. And we're trying to find more things like that. I'm not going to lie. This is so, especially during draft season, this gets so overwhelming. Because I'm doing other things on top of this, and I'm very tired.
Yeah.
So that's just a thank you to the members. It'll also let us test out the stream because this is the most aggressive ask we've had of the stream doing it this way. We've worked out a lot of the bugs. We want to make sure we've worked them all out before we do the draft. So if you are not a member, there's a little join button underneath us. I think it's $2.99 a month. It is not for the money. I 100% promise you that.
Right.
We do have some very extensive purchases coming up in the near future, so the money doesn't hurt. But that's just a support thing and a thank you and all of those things.
Let's see here.
That was a very long-winded answer to a question that was not asked of me.
Stuart West asks if Kansas City, if they're moving up, and do they draft an edge rusher or a wide receiver?
I think Kansas City's the most likely team to trade up. And I think they're after a specific receiver. Atlanta seems to have backed off the idea that they're going to trade down because I think they've become comfortable with the Jets are taking Jermaine Johnson at 4. And they think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to fall in their lap at 8, and they could be right. I won't be shocked in the least if they're right.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants have loved Boye Mafe the entire process. And I look at that and go, that makes a lot of sense because the only team that I'm really afraid right now would snake him from them is Minnesota. Could a team be really quietly targeting him at the back end of the first round? Yes. I don't necessarily see that, but it is possible. So I think it's more likely the Giants go lineman of their choice, whoever that is. Evan Neal makes more sense to me right now than anybody else does, but that could change in an hour. And then Sauce at 7. And then get your pass rusher at the beginning of the second.
Our most visible Commanders fan, Rob Johnson, wants to know if Washington has any choice of their receiver, which one fits the best?
Drake London. He's the big physical guy. You got two little fellers. You need somebody that can go up at the point of attack. And I know you got Logan Thomas, but he's a tight end. It's a little different. To me, if it was all equal, I think every team should take Garrett Wilson for the variety of things he can do. Washington's one of the only few that I look at and go, if I was building a board specifically for you, Drake London would be my one. He is my one anyway because I like him the best.
All right. Is Christian Watson a first-round wide receiver?
God, that's such a hard question to answer because it so invariably depends on where he goes. In Kansas City, absolutely. In Green Bay, absolutely. In Tennessee, I don't know about that. he's much rawer than people want to admit. They got drunk on the RAS, and what made me realize it with Christian Watson is how drunk everybody got on Isaiah Weston out of Northern Iowa all of a sudden. They're the same guy. Like, at the end of the day, they're the same guy. I think one has a much higher ceiling, and one has a much higher floor, and it's the same one. It's Christian Watson. You're going to be able to generate touches immediately. The question is, can he come in and run a route? Can he be what you're going to ask him to be as a first-round receiver? That was the long answer to that question. The short answer is yes. Depending on the team, I like him with Green Bay. I like him with Kansas City. Whichever one doesn't trade down.
Is Tariq Woolen a risky pick?
Yes. He was a wide receiver 2 years ago. So, I mean, you got to understand, this is a kid that doesn't know what he doesn't know. He has freaking no clue really how to play this position. I will tell you, the Buffalo Bills have a hard pecker for him, and it is so hard that you could run it through a car door. So I don't see how he's going to get past 57 to Buffalo. And I would love him there. I always loved him there. I loved him in San Francisco. I've loved him in a lot of places. My fear is he goes to a shit team. I want Tariq Woolen to go to a good team. I've seen this question a couple times. Hosey asked, how do I get the pint by my name? There's a little join button. If you're looking at the iPhones, apparently this thing hides. So Stephen Tao, our resident Verizon guy, please explain where that is, because I don't have any Apple products, so I have no clue. It's just a little join button. It'll give you that. It'll give you a couple of specialized emojis that are just for this show. And you'll have access to that, to all the member exclusive things. And again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's not for the money. That is the only thing that we get the great lion's share of. But it's just an added little perk.
Right. Let's see. Day Saints number 1. What do you think of New Orleans drafting a fast slot guy like Bo Melton in the later rounds? Can you see the fit?
I can. I've always said Michael Thomas does his best work out of the slot. So I look at them. I would like them to have somebody that can play on the outside. That's one of the reasons that I've looked at Olave and gone, I get it. And I think he can do more things than I've seen out of him. Now, Bo Melton, it depends on what you mean by later rounds. He's gotten hot, especially as teams have really fixated in on special teamsy things. And you got to remember, with Rutgers players, you're always battling Bill Belichick, because he will draft them 2 rounds higher than anybody will. Because I think the dean of Rutgers has a picture of him blowing a seal or something like that, because he takes a Rutgers player every single year.
Mm-hmm. Rob Johnson.
But yes, I do see the merit in that. Sorry, I realized that I didn't answer the question in a timely fashion.
Rob Johnson suggests they take Calvin Austin III out of Memphis.
You better be ready to take him ahead of the Cleveland Browns.
Because they're in love with him.
A drunk.
Would that
They're
be their
as
first
drunk
pick?
as I will be Sunday.
Would that be their first pick at like 40, whatever, 44?
I struggle to believe that, because I don't think you have to take him there. But now their second pick at 77, somewhere in there, that's who I just keep coming back to.
Okay.
And there are drop-dead spots on all kinds of players. Look, if I know it, other teams around the league know it. So there are places, when you see weird trades in the second, third round, and you go, well, why would you trade up for that player? Because they knew definitively somebody was going to take him.
Stuart West wants to know who might come out of this draft as a quality running back besides Breece Hall from Iowa State.
James Cook. I love James Cook. To me, he's 1A, 1B with Breece Hall, and there's a little drop-off to Kenneth Walker, and then there's a chasm to everybody else. Now, if you want like a later-round running back, I laugh at the complete disinterest in Jerry and Ely. He'll be a priority undrafted free agent that I think has a role, especially in very specialized offenses. Watch him go where the Philly guys have been. Indianapolis, somewhere that had Darren Sproles and went, hey, that's a little feller that can half-ass pass block, and he's real fast, and he can just take things to the house. But now in terms of I'm going to answer a question that it was not necessarily asked. Is there a 3-down running back later? I love Devontae Price from FIU. I've talked about him this entire process. Pierre Strong, South Dakota State. The zone teams are drunk on him.
Last Legend wants to know if you can say anything about the Dolphins. Any interest in Alec Lindstrom from Boston College or
Yes.
Cam Jurgens?
Yes on the former, no on the latter. Jurgens is going to go higher than you think. He is. I had a scout with a team that I have known a long motherfucking time tell me they have Cam Jurgens as the number 2 center in this class. And when I heard that, it was just utterly dumbfounding to me. And then I thought about it, and I went, that's not as off the reservation as I thought. And what that means, they have him ahead of Dylan Parham. They have him ahead of Cole Strange, which means he's going to go higher than people think. I don't love him in that zone scheme. Lindstrom, I love in that zone scheme. I could see Alec Lindstrom ending up with the Dolphins. He has a wide variety of potential outcomes, solely because there's not a lot of upside unless you put him in that zone scheme. A lot of people have tried to shoehorn him to Atlanta, and I don't see the fit really there. But I do like him with Miami. I also like Zach Tom from Wake Forest.
Are they trying to shoehorn him to Atlanta because his brother plays there?
Yeah, and there's a bunch of those guys. Fatakasi that plays for the Jaguars, that's the only one that I have fallen victim to it, because Alunde, his brother, does end up with the Jaguars in my 7-round mock draft.
Okay. Another one from Stuart West here. If you're drafting, which one is the better pick? Is it Wan'Dale Robinson or Sky Moore?
Ooh. Sky Moore's a better player. Wan'Dale Robinson does more things. I love those Deebo Samuel players that I can just move around because they become matchup problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's always been the underrated part of that. Look at how much better Brandon Ayuk was when they started doing that. And I've heard this narrative of, they did it because they had to at running back. No, they did it because it worked. Because if you look at the number of times that happened, it was a sprinkle-in scheme thing, and then it became a hearty piece of the pie of their offense. So for me, like if I was building a team and I had my own coach and we were building this team in my likeness, I would rather have Wan'Dale Robinson. The better player is Sky Moore. And I think there is a better than zero chance he goes at 26 to the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Here's a two-parter from Pan Gargamel, which, by the way, I meant to say this earlier. Pan, it's great to see you again. We haven't seen that name in a while. We always love to see folks coming back, especially when we get into the what we call the dog days of Draftmas. Here.
Oh, yeah. Now that we're to the nitty-gritty, I need to put a D battery in my ass and see if it'll recharge me, because I feel like I told him earlier, I think I started evaluating this class in 2011.
Pan wants to know, do you see the Steelers taking a wide receiver in round 3? And if so, who?
Not in round 3. I had them taking a receiver in round 3. The one that I know they're really hot on is Justin Ross, and he seems to be falling. So I think they can probably get him a little late. I mean, not tremendously later. I think he's going to go early in day 3. But that's the one I've heard the most attached to them. I mean, obviously, no Juju. So that was the slot guy. I could see them taking a receiver. The thing that people have to understand, in this class, so many of the receivers have been pushed up that there's a dead period between about, I'll say from Jahan Dotson to Alec Pierce, that for me is just an absolute wasteland. Not that I don't like the players, that it's so bereft because all of these guys have gone up that now you start reaching for guys. Like Romeo Doubs. I like Romeo Doubs, but he's a project from hell.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody tell me the other day that they think him and Rashad Bateman are coming in the league the same way, and I went, do you do drugs? Are you actively doing drugs right now?
All right, hit that button. We got a new member of the House of Reprehensibles.
Oh, where's it at?
I'm here for the gangbang.
Welcome, Zeke Zero, to the House of Reprehensibles. We appreciate that. Again, if hopefully you can find the join button.
If you're on an Apple product, Stephen Tao can tell you where it is. He found it for us one time. I would literally rather surf the internet webs on my coffee cup than on any Apple product.
Stephen did respond the first time you said that and said you got to get on a PC. Apparently you can't do it from an Apple product. Or maybe it's just too hard to explain. So you got to get on a PC to join the House of Reprehensibles.
Come on, YouTube, do better.
But you can.
Okay, there's only a few dinosaurs like me that left that still are beholden to Android shit.
Right. But, yeah, join the House of Reprehensibles tomorrow at 7 o'clock. We will be doing another Mullet's last-minute question mailbag leading up to the start of the draft, and that will be for members of the House of Reprehensibles only.
You will have to tell me who asked this question. I saw it a minute ago, and now I've lost it. And, frankly, that screen's too far away for me to really see, and I'm awful damn comfortable. Somebody asked if I was going to be doing grades.
Tyler Cunningham, that is the next question. Are you going to be doing grades every day for the draft?
So I will be doing grades live on my Twitter at ESPN Draft Nerd. I have a form file with every player and shit like that. I've done grades for a long time. I've just never put my name on them. I was a ghostwriter, and then I got this job, and I went, hey, now a few people in this world know what my name is, so I can do this way. But, yeah, I'll be live tweeting out grades over the course of – that's one of the beauties of Brian Haynes being here for round one, is that I can pan out and then pan back in after you two have, screamed at each other and drank beers and shit like that.
Right.
So follow me on Twitter at ESPN Draft Nerd, and they'll be going – so on our website, the Sportsocracy, you will see a Twitter stream. All of those will be – run on that stream of our Twitter shit.
Hosey wants to know about the Bengals. What kind of a return can they expect if they trade back? A fourth?
The trade that I kept seeing for them was Indy. They would give up 31 and 93, I think is their third-round pick. And they would get 41 and 73. Okay. I'm valuing that to be less likely now. They're very hot on Andrew Booth. And if I'm in Indianapolis, I'm just sitting back going, I don't have to. I don't have to do it. There comes a time, especially when you're not dead sold on quarterbacks, that you just sit back and go, who fucking cares? Hey, all right, so I don't get a fifth-year option on the guy. I may not want a fifth-year option on the guy. Hell, I've got Sam Howell going at the beginning of the third in my three-round mock draft because I can't find a place for him to go.
Jonathan Welch wants to know, with all the day one O-line depth, where does Daniel Falele, the big 6'9", 400-pound mountain of a man from Minnesota, where does he fall to?
Middle of day two. I think a team that misses on the high-end tackles will take a shot on him, and I firmly believe it's the Houston Texans.
Glenn Hopper says Matt Corral going to Pitt over Willis. What's the chances, or is Matt pretty much going to Seattle?
There is a possibility of – so Desmond Ridder and Matt Corral have three real hot-to-trot suitors that I know of. It's the Seattle Seahawks, the Atlanta Falcons, the Tennessee Titans. The one team in there that I could easily see not taking a quarterback here is Tennessee, which tells me that that's probably the one that will pull the trigger at 26, and everybody will go, wait. Squeeze me? I've had Corral and Ridder going to in some combination to Seattle and Atlanta for as long as I can remember. Then the Seattle's going to trade down. Kansas City wants to trade up. Okay, that makes a lot of shit make sense because Seattle's hot on Linderbaum. They could take Corral or Ridder at 29 and then Linderbaum at 30, and that makes all of the things make sense.
Frankie Cleary, what's the range for Chris Paul from Tulsa?
It's very vast. I don't see any way he goes into day two. I think he's somewhere from a beginning of day three to the middle. I think in my mock, and I can't tell you the exact number on this, I think I got him in the 190s. And he is straight up catching tater shade from Tyler Smith. Because everybody's falling in love with Tyler Smith, and they're looking at him going, well, he could do is play guard. And I agree, he is a guard in the league, but I think he's a good one. Mm-hmm. I know he goes to Cleveland. I can't remember at the pick, but he has a very wide range. There are teams that really liked him early in the process, and then he died. So those guys usually tend to fall. And I would say his pick range is somewhere from 130 to 190.
Jason N has an idea, a drinking game idea for the draft. Every wrong pick by you have to drink a beer and take a shot.
I would sign up for that. After PhD, I cannot drink like if this had been last year, I'd have gone, okay, and I'll do it, and you do it with me, and I promise I will be the last one standing.
Yeah.
Now I don't do that so good after, losing the weight and such. My objective with the mock draft, if I hit double digits, if I get 12 picks right between the right team and the right pick, and then get like 4 more where I have the slot right, maybe there's a trade, or I have the team right, then I'm good. The guy that won the mock draft contest last year got 15 first-round picks right. So this is way harder than people think.
Hosey says any basketball players get drafted this year, it seems like they're always one in the 5th or the 6th. I mean, you have a lot. You have Chris Paul, you have Isaiah Thomas, you have Kobe Bryant.
I knew you were going to do that. Guys that were specifically basketball players, no. I mean, there's been some interest, and those are guys we'll talk about in day 3. I don't. I'll be honest with you. If they were specific basketball players, I don't have tape on them, so I kind of lend to other people. Do I think any of them are going to get drafted? No. There are a bunch of guys that played basketball. Drake London played at USC. Jelani Woods was a really good basketball player. And there were a few more.
Jordan Davis was a basketball player.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But they've already gone to football. Guys that were just basketball players, I will have a list ready for that on day 3, just in case that somebody throws a late 6 or a 7 at it. But I don't have that in front of me right now.
Do you believe a team will get a steal in drafting Spencer Burford from UTSA?
Yes. And in my last mock draft that will be coming out live tomorrow, team by team, every 15 minutes, we will be the most overexposed people not named Madison Cawthorn on the planet. I didn't even get a chuckle on that. That fucking floors me. I actually have Spencer Burford going to the Jets. I like him a lot.
What college do you think, asks Hosey, does the best job at developing their players?
Alabama. They come in ready-made. Problem is that there's nothing to do with them. There's nothing left. They are who they are. It's been one of my drawbacks on Christian Harris, is that I just feel like he's been passed by a slew of linebackers because they have so much upside, and to me, he has so little. Other schools that do a good job, I've always felt like players come out of the Big Ten pretty ready-made, and maybe that's a shot at I don't outside of Ohio State. I don't usually love Big Ten guys. Penn State, I like defenders from Penn State a lot. Worst, I'm going to make a list. We'll talk about this at some point over the course of the 3 days. Texas A&M's 1, 2, and 4. Which is saying a lot because that was the USC position for a decade. Tennessee is another one that seems to put out a lot of raw guys that come into the league and just get better. There are a few more of those.
Pan Gargamel once again says, who has the potential to make the weirdest pick? Is it Las Vegas or is it your New York Jets? Because they have a history of picking out of the blue. He says, glad to be here. A lot of work in Poland, especially with the Ukraine immigrants.
Understandable. I did not think of that. The weirdest pick, Vegas picks. So I mean, they don't have picked in the first 2 rounds, so it would be the team that I could see doing something that you go, "Oi, what? Could you run that by me one more time?" Is the Tennessee Titans. They're the team I cannot get a read on because there's a player that makes so much sense, and I know they've talked to him. And then it's like he showed him his dick or something because it died. And I haven't seen it anywhere else. It's Travis Jones from UConn.
Yeah.
So they're the team. And that's what I think is going to happen is somebody's going to take Desmond Ridder because the talk on him before Lying Week started was aggressive. And to me, he's not a first-round pick. So if I see that name come across at any point tomorrow night, my face is going to do a thing that's going to be funny. I don't know what it is, but I will make some kind of face like somebody put mushrooms in front of me.
Could the Browns offer a 3rd-round pick for any other team to take Baker Mayfield off their hands?
It's funny you said that. I had, after my Baker hatred yesterday, I had somebody message me and say the most likely scenario with Baker is a Brock Osweiler move. Over the course of the weekend. that a team is willing to swap like fives if Cleveland will take all of the money. That's where he's at. And they want him out of that building desperately.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, Houston, if I remember correctly, Houston gave up a 2 and got back a 3 to give up for somebody to take Brock Osweiler's deal. I could see that happening again.
Jason wants to know, what NFL quarterback do you see going to the USFL this year?
Baker Mayfield.
Nice.
Now I'll be honest with you. I looked at the USFL's their leading passers, and me, a guy that's obsessed with the draft, I recognize like Clayton Thorson and Paxton Lynch, who I think's thrown 5 passes in 2 weeks.
Jordan Ta'amu.
Yeah, I mean I recognize that name too, but there were a lot where I'm like, who?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm flipping back through my notes, clicking on what year did they come through the draft, going, I didn't even have you graded. The USFL's just it has issues, and that's without the XFL. Wait till they're competing with the XFL next year.
Oh, no doubt.
Who's paying more money? That's when it becomes interesting, because I could see some of these practice squad guys, and I didn't think of this until somebody pointed it out to me. The bump up in pay in practice squad guys, I'm telling you right now, that's because of the XFL. It happened a year ago or 2 years ago or somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And the XFL was the problem, and that was with Vince McMahon. Now you got deeper pockets with The Rock.
Mm-hmm. And Cardinal Financial, is that it?
Yeah.
Redbird.
Financial.
Financial.
Yeah, with him and Danny Garcia.
Mm-hmm. Victor Shelton wants to know, what 2 teams will panic draft and do something insane?
Minnesota is the one I'm stuck on, because Minnesota has thought this entire time that Derek Stingley was going to fall in their lap, and now he's not. And insane in this draft, insane would be hard to do. It is going to be damn hard for you to do something for me to go, what? Unless it's take a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But they're the one I look at and go, you absolutely got thicked by this Derek Stingley thing. I think they would take Jordan Davis. But now I'll tell you where that could get weird. If Seattle were to take Jordan Davis at 9, and that's been talked about, it's kind of died off in the last few days, but if Stingley went 3, Gardner went 7, and Jordan Davis went 9, Minnesota would be calling every team in the league, what will you give me for me to trade back?
Yeah. Last call for questions here. We gotta get out of here and start doing some of these team by team videos. So get them in while you can here, because we just got a few left on the screen. Last Legend wants to know, what do you think of Quentin Lake, the safety out of UCLA?
I like him. I think he's a special teamer to start. There's a lot of raw there. To me, he needs to be a practice squad player for a year. I compared him to his dad and somebody about shit in their pants. I don't remember who that was, but I like him. He's a developmental piece. May or may not get drafted. If he doesn't, he'll be a priority free agent, and I fully believe he would end up in Pittsburgh.
In the top 300 big board that we've polished off today, Jeremy has him at 249th. So, fitting with everything he just said, practice squad guy.
And the thing you got to remember about the big board is I am horribly sour on running back. So a lot of big boards, you look at the last 300, they got 20 running backs. I have like 6.
Mm-hmm. Why doesn't Tebow go to the USFL?
Because he sucks at life, and he makes a whole mess of money to do TV.
Jason says Tebow's like that spork on Toy Story. Yeah, I would agree with that. Jeremy doesn't watch cartoons, so he doesn't know.
I don't know. I mean, I know what a spork is. I ate a salad with it earlier.
Forky. It's quite the funny little character. Jeremy, what are the chances you do a best 22 team video of players drafted 4th round or later from the last decade?
I can do that.
Add that to the list.
I can do that.
So now we've got that, and
I can do that for day 3.
And we've got that, and we've got
the thing I don't think he understands is that this leans off greatly for us after tomorrow.
Oh, no doubt.
Well, I said you wrong. I looked at my media schedule for the weekend and went, fuck. Like, what sense did that make? And I've been railing on people for calling me with it like the day of the draft. My phone's rung about 90 times a day, to the point of I had to turn it off for a while, which I don't ever do.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been railing on people, and then I realized, the ones that did that are the ones that I'm bitching about because they scheduled for Saturday.
I'm just making a note of this so we don't forget, because we also have that we were also requested to do the 2021 redraft.
Basically, my plan for the idea you'll have to thank whoever said that because I can't see it. Prepping that for the lead into Saturday.
That was Frankie Cleary.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be a good lead into Saturday. Just something we produce Friday night or Friday day.
Mm-hmm. Who's going to Green Bay and trading up to take Jordan Love?
I don't think Jordan Love gets. I think if the Jordan Love thing was going to happen, it would have already happened.
Would you take Jordan Love over any of these quarterbacks is being asked as well?
Not named Sam Howell. I'd take Sam Howell over him, but.
All right.
And that's saying a lot because I didn't love Jordan Love by any stretch.
Okay. That will be the final question of the Draftmas Eve Mullet Mailbag. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate all the questions. Remember, you can become a member of the House of Reprehensibles if you are not already. We will be doing another last-minute Mullet Mailbag tomorrow at 7 o'clock, testing out the stream.
I'm here for the gangbang.
Yeah.
Nola Dynasty, welcome to the House of Reprehensibles.
Indeed. Hit that join button if you don't see it on your device, whatever you're using. Go over to a PC if you still have those. I mean, surely
if you need to come borrow one, I have 3 sitting in front of me.
Surely there's a laptop or something that you could get on to hit that join button. Join the House of Reprehensibles. Members only tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Last-minute draft questions before we get going with each and every pick of the NFL draft.
Corey Broda asked who my GOAT female rapper is. I would have to think about that. Somebody asked me that one time about who my GOAT rappers were, and after I went back and looked at it, I went, I could have answered that better. I can have an answer for that, but you know what? We'll do that at some point during the 3 days of the NFL draft. 49 hours of draft coverage.
GOAT rappers. It probably has to be the
and Stevie Nicks. And if you're doing GOAT rappers, it's Stevie Nicks. The landslide.
No, I was thinking more along the lines of Wendy's has a really good rapper for their burgers.
Of course you're fat. Of course that's where you went. GOAT rapper. The Hardee's burger really keeps the ketchup from landing in my lap.
Right. All right, we will see you back here at 7 o'clock tomorrow night for the members-only Mullet Mailbag. Of course, all of the draft will be covered live. That will be open to everyone on the YouTube stream. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for the ESPN Asheville show. We will have the full, final, first-round mock draft.
And I feel like I need to clarify this. The mock draft on YouTube is going to run at the same time as the mock draft on iHeart. They ain't going to line up time-wise.
No, they will not.
Because there's no commercials here. There's nothing we can do about the commercials there.
Exactly.
So we have to cut it, and you're going to hear, like, after the break, and then it'll sequest back in, and there will be no break.
Right.
We did this one time before, and I cannot for the life of me remember who it was. I got a text on my personal phone of, what's wrong with the YouTube stream? It does not have commercials, and I can't put them in without it being copious amount of work.
We will also have all of the interactive polls running throughout. We still have to choose Tank's new nickname because obviously after losing 62 pounds and still going on the PhD weight loss program, I'm still a big fan of Tanker Tot, but we will let the House of Reprehensibles decide.
I mean, I call you still fat, but that's...
Aww. You're not going to be able to say that.
At this point, yeah, I outweigh you.
It's true.
I'm also 14 inches taller than you, so...
14 inches.
Yeah. You said, who was the player? Oh, Jasir Taylor. He's like, I'm taller than him. No, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
If you're taller than Jasir Taylor, I'm 6'9", and I've stood next to Stephen Towle. I'm not.
He's not 6'9". All right. Again, we love all of you. We will see you back here tomorrow at 3. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Join the House of Reprehensibles. We will have the team-by-team, full-on mock draft videos coming out starting tomorrow, and we will do all 32 of them tonight.
Every 15 minutes, they're going to go, real fast. And
That's right.
There'll be 5 minutes. I'm going to put up your board. This is who you got. This is who you're talking about. The link to the draft night video will be in there. It's not going to be as breakdown as the others have been. We've done those. Like, for us, this is hey, this is who your team's talking about. This is what we've heard. 4 or 5 minutes, quick, and we will be very oversaturated tomorrow.
As always, we come to you from the Ingles Studio. Ingles Supermarkets, low prices, love the savings. I'm Tank Spencer. He's at ESPN Draft Nerd Jeremy Greene. And we'll see you next time.